Woo! Woo! Ah, yes indeed, yes indeed. Woo. Got a fresh hit of that nitric oxide. Welcome, welcome, welcome to epilogue of episode 160. The stage is set. Oh yeah, stage is definitely set, y'all. Welcome back. Today in the Christian calendar year of July 19th. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Episode 160th. Oh, greetings. Thank you. Somebody said that they love the botanical garden. Thank you. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Barbo's basket. Today is the date of alignment of the Barbo's basket. These are some cosmologically active days that are upon us. Tibetan chants for world peace by the Ayutu monks tantric choir. All right, let's make that a homework assignment. We all can do that together. That sounds amazing right there. This chant that you're hearing in the background, this is Om Mani Padme Om. Right, it's one of those powerful chants, and the reason that we recommend chanting is that humming is one of the process and procedures that produce the highest amounts of nitric oxide, and nitric oxide is that happy medium that ultimately can put you into lucid living, a walking theta state. You know, the nitric oxide that's released throughout your cavern, your cave, your skull, right? That humming activates the pineal gland, right? That humming or that strumming puts pressure, right, on your pineal gland to activate and emit bioluminescent, you know, light frequencies that can be detected um, with the right tools or what have you. But if for nothing else, you know, if for nothing else, it puts us in a peaceful, elevated mind state in a collectivized consciousness that we are on the original vibration of the universe, which is Om. You know what I'm saying? Which is Om, and giving your body that ability to utilize your body like a bell. And the more that we ring our body like a bell, the more capacity that we have to break out of a spell. Because spells are binding, you know what I'm saying? And spells kind of keep you like this. So when we free ourselves up, when we allow ourselves to resonate and get into the resonance of righteousness or what have you, that's a resonance that will wiggle off anything that can't keep up with your vibrational frequency. With that, I want to say shout out to our good brother Rich. He dropped by our Farmy headquarters yesterday and he dropped off some brand new tobacco, right? Some of these radio cigars that operate at a bandwidth and a frequency that they also are able to raise the roof and up the frequency of you know the space that you're in, because this tobacco, once it's sparked, has the ability to create these antimicrobes in the air, almost like sage, and bring in the ancestors. So with that being said, yeah, I don't got one of them fancy clips and what have you. I ain't got no razor down here. Huh. Might have to spark the classic to get things started. Yes. They said we could blow the air or the smoke in 4 different directions to get started. Ashe, 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 oh. May the ancestors be pleased with the words that fall out of my mouth today. Okay. And welcome to Mineral Ministries / Lion Gates Ministries. This is episode 160. I've been, I think I numbered the last one wrong. I gave, we have 2 158 episodes when the last one should have been 159. So today is 160, you know, keeping with the right count. Nonetheless, it's going to be an amazing episode, right? Shout out to New Orleans in the building. Today's episode is called The Stage is Set. There's a lot of things taking place. Cosmologically, there's a stage that's being set right above our heads as we have 4 outer planets, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. The 4 outer slower moving planets are in 4 degrees, giving us a 44 axis in the cosmos, forming what's cosmologically known as the Barbeau basket. Okay. Um, we'll do, you know, a real quick read on what the Barbo's basket is, and then we're looking at the stage that's being set for the World Cup, right? And then there are things that are taking place in the culture where the stage is being set. Somebody said the God set. We are in the throes of the dog days or the Jason months, right? In the dead of winter. So yeah, a lot of things can be perceived and conceived as setting in nature, right? But I want to talk about the sunrise and not so much focus on the sun setting. You know what I'm saying? We'll see a global messianic ritual take place, right? In terms of the personification of the sun, right? Being embodied in these particular superstars that are on the world stage playing at the World Cup. Messi, who is the quote unquote the messiah of football, right? Versus a new messianic force that is coming within his midst, that he is also responsible for baptizing, right? This young man, bringing him into his quote unquote prominence as his potential predecessor. So we're watching that and it's playing out like a very scripted narrative. We're looking at the possible crowning of a Messiah. And again, this is all symbolism that we're speaking about, right? Or the secession of a Messiah, the secession of a messianic force being handed to his successor, right? Individual who wears the number 19 as well, right? 19 being the card in tarot that deals with the corona, that deals with the sun. You know what I'm saying? Us being in the midst of the throes of a corona rising energy coming off of the sun, which is at its solar maximum. Okay. Everything is taking place right now in real time. Okay. 19 years ago, he christened or baptized this young man. We're looking at the Jesuits slash Catholic Church versus the quote unquote Protestant slash Zionists, right? When both of them are owned by the same puppet masters at the top, and both of them ultimately are cosplaying the fact that you are the messianic force that they have a fear of. You're the one who can't be controlled, and we're not speaking about Hove, okay? We're speaking about you, young melanated starseed out there, whose intelligence has these people so terrified that they had to go and create something artificial to rival it. Yeah, we're speaking about you, the one that has the ability to do things in his subconscious that he's not aware of, that they can't create a CERN or quote a quantum quasi $1 trillion edifice to rival. Yeah, I'm talking about you who selling yourself short and taking yourself cheap. Talking about you. Yes, and then the successor of the quote unquote secession, which is the messianic force of Messiah or Messi, his successor in the form of Lamin Yamel, right? He has a young brother who has a quote unquote star seed energy with him. He has a young brother who really to me is the star of the show. It might be the it's always it's always the one that you overlook, right? This messianic star seed that he has at his side at all times. In ancient Spain or Andalusia, this is a Moorish narrative playing out in the form of this 19-year-old, right? Of Yamal, this 19-year-old, right? When the Moors were in Spain, they had the Swarth Peats with them. The Swarth Peats, the Swarth Peats are what you call Santa helpers, right? Swap, how do I spell it? Santa's helpers. And these was the little Moors. They call them, I'm gonna get the Zwart Piet, Zwartepiet. They were the companions of Saint Nicholas, right? In the folklore of Netherlands and Belgium, not so much in Spain, but some ancient traditions will tell you that Saint Nicholas is Spanish or Spain or Moorish. It's all dealing with Moorish Spain. And Moorish Spain, ironically, it's a narrative. Yeah, Black Pete for short is what we can call them. So when I see the little child that runs around with the younger brother of Yamel, I'm looking at Swore Pete or Black Pete as well, a very young, joyous child who brings joy and blessings and benefactions to whoever he's around, right? He is a winning token, if you will. These are not just token N words, right? These are tokens of fortune that when they come around situations, they bring their good fortune with them. So when I look at Yamel and his younger brother, right? Let's look at his younger brother, see what his story is. Yamel's brother. It's not even so much that Yamel is the quote unquote, and his brother's name, his half brother's called Kenne, almost like how you spell Kanye, but with an E. Kane Yamal, who's 3 years old and who has gained attention for his adorable moments at the 2026 Peace Family 2026 FIFA World Cup. So, yeah, Yamal, right? Yeah, Ya is fire or Yod, right? And Yod is the hand of God. Well, we can't say that, right? Because that's cough, right? That's no, that cough is the back of the head. Yod or Yah is fire. And Mal, yeah, Mal is like malware. It's the bad, if you will. So bad fire. Interesting. Nonetheless, right? Lamine says that his younger brother, right, Yamal, means the world to him. Okay. He said his little brother means everything to him. This is a very interesting dynamic, right? This is a very interesting dynamic from a very interesting family dynamic that's rooted in a very interesting story to begin with. Okay. I'll just get this started and then, I'll just read on this and then we'll get it started real quick. All right. And we're having an opportunity to learn things about the world that we didn't know, right? We're getting an opportunity to learn backstories and narratives that we weren't familiar with. But I'd be damned if all of these stories don't fit into the historical context of the continuity of the places that they're coming from or that they represent. It's just history repeating itself, right? They said that history doesn't rhyme, but it often repeats itself. Okay. Every major tournament brings a wave of excitement about the young talent poised to burst onto the scene. 2026 World Cup in the U.S., Canada, Mexico has been no different, with the likes of Ivory Coast, Yan Diamande, Mexico's Gilberto Mora, or Morocco's Ayub Bauba, all still teenagers making a name for themselves on the biggest stage. Lamine Yamal was that breakout star at Euro 2024, and it is easy to forget that the Spanish sensation was only 18 when his tournament got underway. He turned 19 yesterday. Yamal has continues to dominate headlines with his performances on the pitch, but his time there appears to be Another Yamal spilling the spotlight off of it. This time around, the biggest sensation of the competition isn't an athlete, the goals, or even the trophy itself, was how Ola, Spain's version of Hello Magazine, put it. It's Kenne, Lamine Yamal's 3-year-old brother, who's taken the tournament by storm with his hilarious moments. Standing just a few feet tall, Kane has rapidly become an internet sensation. The toddler has melted hearts throughout Spain's run to the semifinals, endearing himself to supporters across the world. So at one point in time, like I said, this is what the Black Peeps did, or what they call the Swore Peeps, so what you guys later know as Santa Helpers, right? These were extremely melanated, rich, what they call like what we would call pygmies. Okay. So again, it's just a very interesting narrative that we get to see play out on this world stage and the religious connotations that it has on this Sunday, on this day of Barbeau's Basket. So let's read what Barbeau's Basket is about real quick before we get started, just so we could put some respect on the energy bowl or basket that we're sitting in right now, right? As these planets above us are doing what it is that they do, and they're getting ready on this global stage to have, you know, the messianic showdown of a lifetime. Like, how can you find yourself scripted back into this narrative on such a propitious day? Yeah, the Twa people, not the pygmies, but we call them Twa. Correct. Thank you for helping me self-correct my language. Barbeau's Basket, right? Let's go to this article called Barbeau's Basket and the Architecture of a New Era. All right. If you're online with me on YouTube, I'll switch the page up so we can read this together. I want you guys to just understand the energy that we are in the throes of, our potential to tap into it. And if we see any overlapping correlations today in scripture that speak to, right, the weight of the energy available today and how you can utilize it for your, how you can silver surfer ride the wave of this energy and not get drowned by it. So this is the architecture of it, right? It's 4 planets and 4 degrees. It's really 6 if you count the moon and you count yourself, where your chart is at in 4 degrees. Okay? Pluto in Aquarius, Jupiter in Leo, Neptune in Aries, Uranus in Gemini. How a rare planetary cradle opens a reset window for humanity. So this is the opportunity today for humanity's reset as the World Cup grabs the hold of the entire planet. What's going to happen? They're going to show a ship. What is going to happen today that resets humanity, right? The availability of the energy cosmologically supports an event that takes place today that resets all of humanity today, right? Let's see what's going to happen. Okay, July 26th brings one of the most talked about astrological moments of our time, the Barbeau Basket. Astrologers describe it as a rare outer planet cradle involving Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto in the early degrees of fire and air signs, a pattern linked to collective resets, shifts in power, and new ways of organizing human life. This isn't everyday horoscope content. It's a big picture of mundane astrology, the kind that speaks to systems, movements, and errors, and still you're living inside it. The way you make choices, tend your rituals, and show up in community becomes a part of how the sky story unfolds in your personal life. Astronomers identified July 15th to 24th, 2026 as the primary activation window for Barbeau's Basket, with the configuration reaching its peak around July 19th, 20th, when the Jupiter-Pluto opposition in several key supporting aspects perfect. That mid-month period carries the strongest charge, a time when conscious reflection and aligned action can resonate deeply with the larger currents, right? So this is an opportunity today, even within the mythology, for them to create a new Messiah, embellish the story of a messianic force, right? Or a crucify one, right? There's a lot going on today, right? And what will be the story? What's going to be the narrative? What's the drop in the bucket that's going to shift this paradigm today? I'm interested to know. The pattern takes its name from Andre Barbal. I don't want to read his story, right? Let me see what it's going to do. At the center of this pattern is an opposition between Jupiter and Leo and Pluto and Aquarius. So, what is Jupiter and Leo energy, right? Jupiter is big. Leo is king energy. It's the sun energy. It's messianic energy. It's who show up as the biggest Messiah, this messianic energy today on this grand stage. Are you playing this narrative out in your life? Do you have the performance of a lifetime today? Right? We saw the mirror of it last Sunday with Hove, Jupiter and Leo having the biggest show of his career, right? But also going up against opposition, right? So the opposition is what? Now we're dealing with Pluto and Aquarius. We're dealing with this 20-year cycle that concludes in 2044. So we saw that 44 resonator jump through, right? Transformation to humanity, Pluto and Aquarius, right? Death and regeneration, technology, humanity, right? Aquarius. Jupiter speaks to growth, belief, and meaning. In Leo, it highlights creative leadership, self-expression, and sovereign heart. Pluto speaks to deep transformation, power, and the hidden mechanics of systems. In Aquarius, it turns that focus towards networks, communities, technology, and collective structures, right? The future, this is Aquarius as well. Future dropped last Friday, right? But also on this global stage, we're looking at the future of, global football. Football is the biggest sport in the world. Don't throw stones at me because I'm making cosmological observations by utilizing the conversation is on the global stage right now. If it's not political, right, then we got to spin the wagon and say these athletes and these quote unquote these concocted stars, they have the attention of the globe right now, right? Ain't nobody talking about the the cosmological imports of Andre Barbol and its impacts on humanity. They're speaking about a game that's about to take place. And the secession of messianic forces, they're looking at the people that are playing and they're saying these people are the goats. You know who they also said was a goat? Jesus, my nigga, on a Sunday. So we're looking at the clear and concise correlations without forcing the conversation. I don't have to force it. It is what it is what we're looking at. We might be in denial, my nigga, but I'm gonna tell it to you like it is. You feel me? Not how it might be. And I'm gonna exclude my feelings from it so I can give it to you real. And opposition brings tension and clarity, right? Tension and clarity. Like last Sunday, we saw tension and clarity. Like, damn, when is this show gonna start? But once the show started, then people was like, oh, I'm clear as to why I waited. I'm clear as to why I sacrificed. Now I'm just giving you these examples and correlations so we can put a more concise understanding of what the energy looks like when it shows up, my nigga, because we was given a mirror or a shadow of it last Sunday. On a real, Pope, do you think the setup is to distract people? Yes, to the masses will distract from looking into themselves. But there's going to be a child, there's going to be a person, there's going to be someone who makes the observation and sees the correlation to their own personal destiny, to their own personal triumph, to their own personal challenges, right? So the smart ones are able to observe things going on outside of themselves and be impacted internally for it to navigate them, for them to extract some sort of inspiration and navigation But if it's a personal pursuit that's distracting you, you should be on a mountain somewhere meditating, nowhere near TV. This don't have nothing to do with you, and you are just on your personal pursuit. And of course, these cosmic transits are going to exemplify that. If the only mythos is taking place in your mind, if you're the only star on your stage, right, giving the grand performance, then hey, you have reached the epoch, my nigga. You got there. Yeah, you're better than the masses and the rest of us, I guess, right? You only focused on your shit, so kudos to that as well, right? And you should double down and dial in on that, right? But there are people that are existing simultaneously between both worlds. They're looking at the event and they're also thinking about the import that it has to them personally. And there are people that are just outright looking at the shit and not thinking about nothing because that's their release. That's their way to let go. You feel me? I don't know who this troll is, man, but I don't got time for this shit today. For real. I just don't. Not today. Pardon me, y'all. It's like if you're gonna troll, make it worth my while because as sometimes I entertain trolls. I allow them to have their space because everyone should be allowed a voice, but make it make sense. Make it make sense. When it just sounds like blabber or you sound like you're a bot, nah, you got to go, man. I advocate freedom of expression for human voices, not bots. A opposition brings tension and clarity. Jupiter and Leo wants to expand and shine. Pluto in Aquarius wants to expose and restructure the ways power moves through groups and infrastructures, right? So again, we saw this conflict last weekend where people want a ex-drug dealer who became a billionaire by being the bad guy, by being the hero to the anti-hero. They want him to also be the savior. You feel me? They want him to be the voice and compassion of people who are not as capitalistically addled as he is in this corporate structure where he's like, my nigga, I'm doing this for my personal brand. I'm doing this for the ethos of the hustlers that I speak for, which is a very small group of individuals who push society forwards by being unapologetic. I'm not here to say whether it's right or wrong. I'm here to help you get out of your own way while you stumble over yourself to look towards leadership from someone who already told you what the game was and told you from day one, don't knock the hustle. And you partied to it and you repeated it and you championed it. But now you want to knock the hustle. Pluto in Aquarius wants to expose and restructure the way power moves through groups and infrastructures. Together, they place big questions on the table. Who leads? Who holds influence? How are resources shared? What does it look like to move beyond outdated hierarchies into something more sustainable? So this is an illmatic piece, my brother. Dualistic cross conversation is taking place, right? And it's exemplified. We can use the example of what we saw last weekend in the person of a Jay-Z taking the stage, but also the people telling him, if you are the spokesperson of the people, if you're the voice of the people, if the people have championed, right, your pursuits, your capitalistic pursuits for 30 plus years, can you at least have enough compassion and decency to air our grievances or to speak in unison with the where the people's heart is at when you speak up, right? And he did not have that level of compassion, connection, or if you will, he didn't have that train of consciousness with him when he had that when he took command of that stage, right? He had a rugged, individualistic, capitalistic pursuit for him exemplifying himself in this Jupiter and Leo period, right? I'm doing it for my brand and I'm doing it for the ethos of the people who I speak to specifically for and to. Once again, he said, don't knock the hustle. Um, Shaka, just give me a minute because I got to get through this. and then I definitely will bring you on to hear what you have to say. But let me at least finish this observation, right? What does it, and this is a Chiron and Taurus period. So all of these conversations are compounded into Chiron and Taurus. And I'll give you an example very quick. Let me set the stage. All of the conversations almost that we're hearing are battles between independents and quote unquote majors, right? And at one point, Jay-Z represented the independent. This is what Dame Dash is saying. Reasonable Doubt came about as an independent release going against the majors. He was David going against Goliath. Now he's become Goliath and he's going against David. He personifies this as the Goliath representing the music industry going against David in the forms of Drake. The Chiron and Taurus energy is what? Wounds to resources, wounds to values. The whole conversation with Carisha and India Irie is a Chiron and Taurus issue. Wounds to resources and wounds to values. The conversation with Jay-Z is wound to resources and wounds to values. The younger generations don't like Jay-Z because when they look at their parents who have sacrificed so much to what? Chase the dream, who believe that cash rules everything around them and not community. These are the parents who forsake, if you will, care, comfort, and consideration that goes into raising children. And children have been raising children. You feel me? And those children who no longer have those connections with those parents, when they look at somebody like Jay-Z, they correlate or connect that with them to be like, yo, you're the person that cast the spell to have my folks out here looking crazy, right? Chasing commerce, chasing capital, chasing currency, or chasing a moment, but not really putting that into their children and building them up and getting them ready for this world that we now live in, this digital world that's not analog, but it's a different world. It's a new world. You just can't go out there and hustle the same way. You can't jug the same way, right? You need to do things different. You need to be upgraded and updated with the times that we're in, right? They said what? Here, they said, how are resources shared? What does it look like to move beyond outdated hierarchies into something more sustainable? So 38 Special came along with the Jadakiss, Chiron, and Taurus conversation. I'm a boss, but I'm independent. You a slave and you work for a major. Jay-Z tried to tell that young boy, Drake, yo, you let me see your contracts. You're a slave working for majors. I own my masters, even if I'm a tool for the industry. I tried to get you involved with title so we can solve our Chiron and Taurus issues. What's the Chiron and Taurus issues? The Taurus is the big industrial money. The fact that we got these contracts, we work for these corporations, and we don't own distribution, right? We are a resource and we don't have the source, but we're the source of the resource, which is the creator. Let's solve these things. 38 Special had the same conversation about Jadakiss. Jay-Z's trying to have the same conversation about Drake. Drake is having a conversation about Jay-Z as well, and the rest of the industry, right? Boosie's having the conversation with Trump. Yo, Chiron and Taurus, there's been a wound to my resources. Now, Boosie, out of all of them, is the most interesting observation that we should be having right now because he has evidence that a crime was committed, and he already told the world what it was. He is the literal smoking gun. Now, you know that to us, that's our doppelganger because he's born on my birthday. So I'm watching the Scorpio get up there, right? And destroy the very platform that he helped build, but he's doing it in a way in which he actually can pull down the BS. He can pull, he is the evidence that we have that a crime was committed. And he showed you the chain of the crime and where it goes all the way up into the top. Now we're sitting there and we're accusing him of dry snitching, and he definitely is dry snitching. He's definitely dry snitching. But he's also presenting you with a case that can ultimately pull down the whole house of cards because he told the whole play in front of the world and he has the receipts, and you got to shut him up. You either got to get him out of the way or you got to shut him up. And both are going to have a response and a reverberation And nigga kingdom, that they're not just gonna, they're just not gonna sit down and watch that happen. So I'm just saying there's just some cosmological excitement that I'm bearing witness to, and even if it sounds like entertainment to you guys, I still think that it has the ability to move needles, right? Supporting this line of Uranus and Gemini and Neptune and Aries, Uranus, planet of innovation and disruption, in Gemini speaks to rapid shifts in information, media, communication, and thought patterns. Neptune, planet of spirituality and imagination, in Aries acts belief to become action, bringing courage and spiritual activism into the mix. So our people want more. They demand more of these people who they consider to be their voice box or their mouthpieces. You feel me? If you telling the police that is not snitching, granted, but he's not telling on the police. He's telling on lobbyists who are also criminals. You know what I'm saying? Who also are operating in underworld capacity of finessing and pulling jugs and things of that nature. This is jugging on another level, right? So it's just interesting to see that he does hold the keys. He has the receipts to pull down this house of cards where there's blatant criminal activity taking place with pay for parole. That's a hustle. That's one of the many hustles that they have. You feel me? It's one of the many hustles that they have. So the people need to put a cosmic covering over Boosie, because he's sitting with the smoking gun, and he already told us who did what and how they did it. Now they should open an investigation. I'm being facetious, of course, because the people that you're going to look to open investigation are the very same people that you are online telling about. So he has to run to the people for help, for the people who are doing the dirt. It's crazy. Shaka, my brother, if you're still in the building, I want to honor your request, because I know that you might definitely have some personal interactions or insight into at least part of this narrative. You know what I'm saying? If you're still there and you would accept my request, please pull up on us. Trines and sextiles amongst these four planets form the basket, a geometric cradle of harmonious aspects in early Leo, Aquarius, Gemini, and Aries. Fire and air together create movement and momentum, right? This is what we're saying about fire horse energy. He who has the momentum will surpass he who just has the motif, meaning that you can be the spurs and be the motif of a horse, but the Knicks can have the actual momentum of a horse and blow you out the gate. You know what I'm saying? And damn near sweep you, because it supports the momentum. You can't be him in name only. You actually have to be him. You actually have to be doing those things in real time, right? Or you could hit your wagon on the momentum that you garnered for 30 years of being him, like Hove, and have a stellar fire horse year, right? And then leave the people in the dust, and then the goddamn dust clouds come to New York the next day, right? When you make off like a fat rat. Because they gave what he was coming to get. You feel me? He was able to clean up, regardless of how people felt about it. Yes, I'm on YouTube simultaneously on Know the Ledger 444 or Know the Ledge Media. I'm on both of those channels right now. It said, if you have planets or angles in the early degrees of Leo, Aquarius, Gemini, or Aries, that means that you guys should pull out your charts and see for yourself, where do you have early degrees, specifically if you have 4 degrees in any of these planets, Leo, Aquarius, Gemini, or Aries. This pattern may resonate more personally, though its main work is collective. Think of it as a background field. It sets the tone. You decide how to respond. It's all I've been talking about, the background, setting the tone. Today, we named it Setting the Stage, because that's cosmologically what we're looking at. But what stage? Is it the world stage of the World Cup? No, it's beyond that. But we're definitely going to have a idea. We're going to be able to see symbolically how the cosmic energy of the stage that has been set, how it moves and permeates through the stage being set at the World Cup. Okay. Planetary themes in plain language. You don't need advanced technical skills to understand Barbeau's basket. It helps you translate each piece into simple themes and real life questions. Jupiter and Leo, the themes: creative confidence, heart centered leadership, visibility. Questions: where am I ready to lead as myself rather than playing a role? Where does my desire to be seen slip into performance or ego? All of this is we're able to observe once again. If you use Jay-Z's performance last weekend in New York City as an example of how this energy moves and permeates, right? We can make an observation and not necessarily, a judgment. Okay, I'm just using this for educational purposes. Pluto and Aquarius, the theme: system changes, collective power, technology, social structures. Question: what structures in my life or community are ready to transform? Where is power concentrated, and does that still feel honest? Uranus and Gemini, themes: mental breakthroughs, shifts in communication, new ideas. Questions: what stories and information streams need updating? How is my mind thinking? How is my thinking being disrupted in ways that can set me free? Neptune's in Aries, the theme: spiritual actions, values, emotion, courageous compassion. Questions: how can I act on what I believe? Where do my spiritual values need clearer boundaries or follow through? Together, these threads highlight leadership, systems, information, and spiritual action. That's why so many astrologers talk about a reset. The sky is pushing towards movement. It's less about keeping things as they've been and more about stepping into a different architecture for how we live and work together. And interestingly, they have, a leaf growing out of soil, a plant. You know what I'm saying? Utopian turning point or practical rebuild. Not every astrologer frames Bardo's basket the same way. Some speak about it as the beginning of a more hopeful era, pointing to resource redistribution, stronger solidarity, and a rise in global cooperation. They emphasize the harmonious aspects in Barbeau's description of this pattern as beneficial, suggesting that the ground will be more fertile for humane systems. Others lean into a more pragmatic reading. In that view, the basket marks the end of a heavy phase and the start of a construction one, but the process of change can still be messy and gradual. Jupiter opposite Pluto can magnify power struggles, ethical questions, and tension between ambition and integrity, even inside a supportive pattern. From this angle, July 2026 looks less like the first day of utopia and more like a serious work session on the foundation of our shared world. You don't need to pick one story and discard the other. You can let the hopeful integrate interpretation keep your imagination alive while the grounded interpretation keeps your feet on the earth. Barbeau's basket reads best as scaffolding. The sky offers structure and support. Humanity still has to do the building, right? So we still got to show up. We still got to do the building. The information can be available, but how are you taking advantage of it? How are you taking full access and advantage of it? You know what I'm saying? By being conscientious of it gives you a angle above all others who are not cognizant of it, who will just be operating in light of it. You know what I'm saying? So yes, your attention is definitely a resource, right? And again, they're competing for your resource as they're competing for your attention. Find a way, again, even if you engage with the outer play of these outer games, such as the World Cup, find a way to still marry it back to your personal development. Find a way for it still to mirror this competition that you're having with whatever is competing against your ultimate conquest. Find a way to find yourself in the narrative to inspire yourself to not just be entertained. And as you know, With that being said, let's get today's presentation underway. Um, I know we're about 50 minutes in, almost an hour in, but nonetheless, this is Mineral Ministries. We are non-denominational, mostly conversational, sometimes confrontational, right? And today's uh, sermon is titled "Stage is Set." I am your host, Minister Moreland, uh, with flashes and appearances by Pope Pablo. And the way that we do, we read scripture, Old and New Testament, to extract gems from it. Hence the fact that Mineral Ministries is not just about extracting resources such as gems out of, the content, right? But we also about putting seeds in soil and remediating the soil and healing the water and filtering the water and making sure that our communities are robust centers of health and ecosystems that support regenerative life. You know what I'm saying? All of these things we are doing in real time. So this is just in addition with it, right? So we can turn dead religion into living testaments and actually take control of the world. Take control of the word, which will allow you control of the world once you control the narrative. And the only way for you to control the narrative is to center yourself in it. You feel me? And train and train it as if it's yours. And it starts here. Genesis 7:19, the duration of the flood. So the waters continued to surge and rise greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the surface of the waters. Finally, the waters completely inundated the earth so that all of the high mountains under the heavens were covered. The waters rose and covered the mountaintops to a depth of 15 cubits. Now, it's not lost on me that New York is flooding right now as the World Cup finals head to the tri-state, head to MetLife Stadium in particular. It's not lost on me that there's active flooding going on in real time right now. So again, we find connections, cross correlations, so we can turn dead letter religion into a living testament and put things into perspective. My theorem is that if you read scripture in accordance with the Gregorian calendar, you will unlock the word. And as long as you can unlock the word, then you can have command of the word. And more command of the word leads to command of the world. Once you control the narrative, we over here playing cosmic double dutch, right? With the fabric of time and space. Okay? That's what we're doing. Yeah, and the air is terrible over there. And Odyssey just came out, and it's all about the water, right? It's like a Greek mythos about Noah before Noah. Stop playing with us. Okay. And follow your inner urgings and commandments when you're given a mission and an assignment. Build your ark even if nobody's looking or if they're even laughing, my nigga. Follow your inner urgings. Okay. And don't get lost in these narratives. These are all stories. But mythos are powerful. So I don't like diluting the power and the message of the mythos. I just be like, let's run it. We're going to do a cross correlation. Genesis 1:6, and God said, let there be an expanse between the waters to separate the waters from the waters. So God made the expanse and separated the waters beneath and the waters above, and it would so, right? So we literally live in a fishbowl. The air is water. They're saying that there's bad air quality. Well, there's bad water quality as well. The air and the water is bad at the same time. They're telling you that the water got doo-doo in it. So do the air. So do the air. You feel me? What are you going to do? is the important part. Now that you know that you swimming in doo-doo and you drinking doo-doo and you bathing in doo-doo and you eating food that got doo-doo on top of it, right? We're given decisions at this particular point to heal our Chiron and Taurus. Wounds to the earth, wounds to the water that's on the earth as well. Wound to our resources, our body, our ecosystems, right? Exodus 7:19, the first plague. Blood. What's going to be impacted? When you inhale shit, the first thing that deteriorates is the shit actually starts getting in the blood system, because when you inhale it and it's not getting filtered, because they say that this new disease, what? It lays down your hair like you getting processor, like you getting Dax, like you put a waves on, like you put new now on it. So it's not filtering the disease, it's not filtering the poison, it's not filtering the bacteria, it's not filtering the fungus, it's not filtering the germs. They're going full stock and invading your organs, and they're getting in the blood. Ugh. So we're living through this. We're seeing this. You know what I'm saying? But we got solutions over here, y'all. The first plague is blood. The fish in the Nile will die. The river will stink, and the Egyptians will be unable to drink its water. So God weaponized water warfare, right? Initially, all the way back in Exodus. They were destabilizing populations by destroying their water supply. I've seen footage recently of the U.S. bombing a dam in Iran and destabilizing their water supply and sinking a whole village underwater. They're famous for doing that. They did it over here with all of the melanated communities, didn't they? The fish in the Nile will die, the river will stink, and the Egyptians will be unable to drink its water. And the Lord said to Moses, tell Aaron, take your staff and stretch out your hand over the waters of Egypt, over their rivers and canals and ponds and reservoirs, that they may become blood. There will be blood throughout the land of Egypt, even in the vessels of wood and stone. Right? That's my all-time favorite quote that I keep saying when it comes to the law of 44. It's Exodus 7:19, my nigga. There will be blood. Moses and Aaron did just as the Lord had commanded in the presence of Pharaoh and his officials. Aaron raised the staff and struck the water of the Nile, and the water was turned to blood. So today's one of those days. Be aware, be mindful, be very cautious. Them Argentinians is different as well. I need to put that on the record. I was in Atlanta 2 times. I was in Atlanta when they played Morocco, and I went to the game when they played England. They're very rambunctious. They're a riotous act. Them Argentinians is different, and they don't care about nobody. Maybe like if you're not Jewish or something like that, nigga, they different. Even their women is different. Whole nother story. Whole nother story. That music is distracting. What music you hear? What music you hearing? Help me out. Somebody said DC has the biggest sewage spill in history right now. So yes. Oh, see, I didn't even know that. So, how does Philly factor into this? Because, this is America 250. They sent JB to Philly when J and B just left Philly doing the concert. They sent Jalen Brown, passed over from Jalen Brunson in New York, to send him to Philly You know what I'm saying? And they're activating this whole aspect of what Philly is and what it represents in terms of the 76ers representing 1776 and the capital of this country during the times of quote unquote independence or emancipation from their British captives or colonizers. Okay, the pipeline in LA broke last week, flooded Sunset. Pipes are over 100 years old. Same thing is happening as we speak in New York right now. They're flooding, you know what I'm saying? And the sewers are upheaving and flooding onto the streets. And this is what people are drinking and bathing in. But once again, like I said, we got a filtration system over here. We got a whole product called a Bio Buddy and a Bio Cleaner. We don't got to live like this, y'all. Right? We don't have to. Exodus 7:19. Again, this is the whole verse about there will be blood and blood will flow into the streets and water turns into blood, right? So Exodus 4:14, then the anger of the Lord burned against Moses, and he said, is not Aaron the Levite your brother? I know that he can speak well, and he is now on his way to meet you. When he sees you, he will be glad in his heart. You are to speak to him and put the words in his mouth. I will help both of you speak, and I will teach you what to do. He will speak to the people for you. He will be a spokesman, and it will be as if you were God to him. Let's go to Leviticus 7:19. If there is a 7:19 for us in Leviticus. Yes, the peace offering. All right. If any of the meat from this peace offering is eaten on the third day, it will not be accepted. It will not be credited to the one who presented it. It shall be an abomination, and the one who eats of it shall bear its iniquity. Meat that touches anything unclean must not be eaten. It is to be burnt up. As for any other meat, anyone who is ceremonially clean may eat it. But if anyone who is unclean eats meat from the peace offering that belongs to the Lord, that person must be cut off from his people. Right? So if clean and sustainable meat, pause, is good enough for the Lord or good enough for God, then why is that not a standard for you? Why not are you making sure that this processed food that's coming your way that's in these supermarkets, this high price, this out of priced, you know what I'm saying? At least make sure that it's grown at a standard that's conducive with your health standards. You can't say that. You can't say that. And I'm not here to rub it into your face. I'm not here to scream at you. I'm just here to remind you that we can do better, right? I have independent vendors of livestock and things of that nature that, you know, can be vouched for, that have some of the most sustainable foods. You don't got to go to these people and buy their poison and do commerce, inflated commerce with them like that. You don't got to do it. Right? Gigantic sinkholes opening up in St. Louis. Hey, it's going down, y'all. It's going down. Right? The infrastructure is cracking and crumbling. We've crossed the 250 mark. Now it's time for the deterioration of the empire to take place. You know, it's going to sink on itself. How did they celebrate their 250th? They started in the daytime by marching white nationalists through DC, and then they ended it in the nighttime with Nolan Wells. There's nothing left to talk about. You need to do everything that's within your power to do for self with you, your family, and your personalized community to get it right and get out of the way, because the cosmic retribution seems to be setting in and you don't want to be caught up in the swell of it. You feel me? But I don't think that there's nothing left to discuss or nothing left that can be done, because every opportunity that these people have been given to come correct, they show you that it's not, they don't have the capacity to do that. And no judgment there, right? You have not arrived at the understanding of who they are. I think that they've arrived at the crystallization of the understanding of who they are and the willingness to live in their truth. And that they had a European lady come on the internet the other day and she told on them, she told their truths. And if you're still in doubt, because she gave a master class on who they are, how they feel, and why they feel like this. So it won't be so personal. So we won't get this taken out of context. So you won't be looked at as a quote unquote racist or what have you. They're telling you how they feel. They're telling you who they are. They're telling you why they are unable to get into a chamber of capacity of compassion when it comes to you. They don't have it to give, my nigga. They're experts in cruelty to you. And that's what keeps them reaffirmed. That's what keeps them comfortable at night. Their cruelty keeps them comfortable. Your compassion keeps you bordering as close as to whatever they claim a Christian is. You have the right to be that because you're the only one who has demonstrated compassion. So my thing is like, if our nanas have done so much to prove that this religion is worth its merit, who are we to abandon it? I come here every Sunday as much as I can just to highlight the points that are still right in accordance with the homes that we grew up in, around the mothers that we knew that were impacted by the word enough that they converted that shit into something tangible by showing us what compassion looks like. And that's the prerequisite to be a Christian. Where's your compassion? Right? Where is your compassion? You feel me? They don't have it to give, unfortunately. Right? They don't have it to give. But we've demonstrated it time and time again. And we don't have it to give away. We don't have it to give away. We don't have it to be evaluated. We don't need to demonstrate it anymore to prove it, right? It's time to become more selfish and focused on self. Offerings of dedication, Numbers 7:19, because we have compassion and abundance, which makes us the most abled Christians on the planet. That means that if there is a Jesus, if there is a Christ, if there is anyone who resonates with the magic of this message, then they have to come to the melanated people as, you know, as a messianic people, as ones that are chosen and worthy because they chose themselves to be Christ-like, which means what? That they have the capacity to show compassion, right? They have the capacity to show compassion. And that is something that other people who wave the flag of Christianity have not had the capacity to get into that bag. Because what they're showing you is a version of Christendom. And that version of Christianity culminates today in the World Cup. You see, an entire country, Argentina, was made by the colonization of Spain. Spain was giving them authority to colonize Argentina after the papal bull was issued by the Christian Catholic Church, the Pope in particular, with the Intercattera of 1493, when they split the world into two zones, East and West. They gave the East to Portugal, they gave the West to Spain. And that's how Argentina was formed. So, and now they've outdone Spain in terms of, you know, how they orient themselves to a Reconquista ideology. What is Reconquista? The Reconquista is when Spain decided to reconquer Andalusia, which is Spain, Portugal, and France, and re-Christianize it, which meant what? That they had to push the Moors out and get rid of the Africanized melanated seed in their population by whitening it. How do they do that? By having sexual intercourse, nigga. You understand me? So they whitened the population of Argentina, especially after the remnants of a civil. They said that Hitler and them was studying Argentina in the 1800s. They had already implemented a whitening program, a pogrom, in South America before the Nazis came into power. The Nazis extracted lessons from them, became the Nazis, and then when they fell out of power, they went to Argentina and they went to Brazil and they went to other places in South America, Paraguay as well, right? And they operated in secrecy all of them years down there. And now you have what you have, a very radicalized part of the Americas that a lot of people don't speak about or speak to because they haven't been down there. You ain't sit in ceremony. Shout out to Red. You haven't been in the jungles and sat with these South Americans who consider themselves seeds of Christian crusaders and conquistadors. And when they find out that you are more, that you're a Muslim, or that you are a melanated person that knows who they are, right? They want to continue the campaign of the Crusades, my nigga. Those are not friendly places to be around people who see you and you don't know why they don't like you, right? You don't you're not you forgot the history. You think that they forgot. They've never let go of it. So yeah, the least amount of your worries is saying, oh, did you see what they said to I Show Speed? Nigga, have you been to Argentina? Have you been around these people? Have you been to parts of South America that are totally Catholic and totally with the Reconquista aspect of keeping their foot on the melanated seed globally, nigga? You don't get it. You don't get it. Offerings of dedication, right? Numbers 7:19. On the second day, Nathaniel, son of Zuar, the leader of Issachar, drew near. The offering he presented was one silver-plated platter weighing 130 shekels and one silver bowl weighing 70 shekels, both according to the sanctuary, sheckled and filled with fine flour mixed with oil for grain offerings. One gold dish weighing 10 shekels filled with incense. So the priesthood is responsible for making the offerings to the deity, and the deity is specific about how they want their offerings. The weight of the bowls, the weight of the offerings, the amount of blood, the amount of guts, how many animals, all of these things, right? They had a separate class that was quote unquote responsible for this. Peace, God. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna open up the floor and get you in the building. Let me just run over this real quick. 1 Chronicles 29:2. So Chronicles, they're speaking about the building of the temple. They're speaking about Solomon and David and what have you. Now, with all of my ability, I have made provisions for the house of my God. They're talking about the temple. Gold for the gold articles, silver for the silver, bronze for the bronze, iron for the iron, and wood for the wood, as well as onyx for the settings, turquoise, stones of various colors, all kinds of precious stones and slabs of marble, all in abundance. Moreover, because of my delight in the house of my God, I now give for it my personal treasures of gold and silver over and above all that I have provided for this holy temple. 3,000 talents of gold, the gold of Ophir, and 7,000 talents of refined silver to overlay the walls of the buildings. So that's Solomon, I would gather, speaking about building the house of God, the temple, and the many treasures that were utilized and used initially to build out that house, which ultimately was destroyed. Let me open up the line real quick, get my brother in here. It's been a minute. And we'll see what he got on this good. It's good Sunday morning. The promises of God. Peace, God.
Peace, God.
Peace, God.
Peace to the God.
Peace, God. How you, man?
Man, superb.
I know that's right. So, yeah, man, it's been a minute, but it's just like yesterday at the same time because 2026 got these 2020 echoes in it that when we communicate, it's like we go through the wormhole and we right back where we left off at.
Right where we left off.
Yes.
First off, it's good hearing and seeing you always fly. Glad to never, you know.
So is you. I
Glad
need
to
I need
never.
one of them belts, man.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen you taking style on tour. Um, and style is not just how we dress, it's not how we attire ourselves. It's the energy that we move with, the fact that we bring our own oxygen with us when we show up, right?
Percent.
Our own kaleidoscope of color therapy, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And
1000.
you always know that you got a song in your heart, so you always bring in a resonance. You always bring in music in your field, whether they hear it, see it, or not. It still rings
Absolutely.
bells. So
You know,
I see you out there
yeah, rhythmatically.
rhythmatically. Yes,
Recently, rhythmatically. Recently, I've been on, been on a mission like Geronimo,
yes, sir.
keeping it Apache, keeping it real Apache with life.
Right. Keeping it real Apache. I like that because
Real Apache.
I've been seeing
So,
that. Yeah, I've been seeing that.
yeah, and especially on what you're communicating on right now, that's some real heavy stuff. If people can't actually sit with what you're saying
Yes, sir.
and digest what you're saying, because what you're saying sounds like a complete pan of their world view,
Yes.
especially when you're talking about the my sons, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so to preface, to just to chime in on what you're saying, especially when you're speaking on, the Christians.
Mm-hmm.
I say it like this: the Christians were devout. These are devout Christians that were so-called the founding fathers of America.
So called, right.
These are devout Christians, though.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't sinners. These were devoted Christian beings. Just think about that. These are devoted Christians that founded America. And they said, we're going to put black people in chains. Devoted Christians, these are not sinners.
Mm-hmm.
Each and every one of these founding fathers, or the people who founded this country, were just good Christians
Good
who
Christians.
believe, just good Christians. That's
Good
all they
Christians.
were. They
Yeah.
were just clear cut, the best of Christians.
The best.
The best. They were the best.
The
The best.
best. The
Best.
religion had to offer. The
The
best.
realest.
Yes.
The purest.
The purest.
The purest. And in that same light, these same Christians brought you and us, your people, the darker kind of people of the face of the planet Earth, subjected them to the chain, subjected them to the chain gang, and put them in a state of luck. Well, good luck. Good luck out there. After you have now been under my 400 years, 4+ hundred years of prosecution and institution and prostitution,
right?
Then I'm going to throw good luck on you. I'm going to tell you good luck at it.
Good luck at it. Right.
Oh, good luck. Matter of fact, put a good luck train of thought on
you. I like that.
Give you the good luck train of thought. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you good luck, and that's what this is.
The best of luck to you, right?
I pose this question in my thought, Blue. I say to myself, well, if Jesus is needed in this time, then what is he needed for?
One hell of a question right there.
What is he needed for?
If Jesus is needed in these times, which they keep saying that he is, what is he needed for?
Right. What world is he coming to change? what about the world is he coming to actually cleanse?
Right. Or correct.
Or correct?
What about it?
What about it? Like what's happening in the world that Jesus wouldn't like? What about it? So I sit with these questions on.
I mean, that's again, that's a monumental question that to me is like it has a tour component to it. That's something that you can move around the whole world asking just to get an understanding of consensus. Because what if the actual answer to that problem exists and they're waiting on Jesus, and it's like, well, God already sent the answer for that.
Right.
We just need better communication. Y'all waiting on him and he's not coming because it's already there.
Yeah.
And he like, yeah, use that up.
How many prayers? How many prayers does it require? Is there a limit? Is there an amount? Is there a mathematical equation to how many prayers that's required?
Right, to crack the request threshold, where you know what I mean, he's left no option to say, yeah, this got to be an emergency at this point.
It must be an emergency at this point, right?
Because I got, like Santa, he like, I got 1 million letters saying that they wanted
yeah, so I gotta come deliver some toys, right? So that's why, I was moved to come and see what you were communicating on.
Yes.
Today. And it was just right in line with my current thoughts. So what you're doing, setting the stage.
Yes, my brother.
World premiere.
That's right.
You're doing the right thing.
But let me ask you, because you're a rare individual being that I can vouch and say that I was outside in the sun with you in 2020, when it was a different sun, and people were staying inside for various different reasons. We know what was going on, and I've been bearing witness that the sun is just a little bit different as of lately. What would be your observations on it? When I gaze, I cannot gaze as long in it. But I also want to say this, and don't fall too deep into this, what I'm about to say, without answering what I asked earlier, because we could be here forever for that.
Right.
They have created a super hyper focused campaign on demonizing melanated consciousness that wants to reconnect with nature. And I know you know what I mean, right? They have created a campaign that I'm seeing that's unprecedented, where major corporations are bankrolling documentary series on highlighting a energy, a ethos in the conversation that in their eyes may be getting out of control. But we know where it started and it came from. But also there was a very direct emphasis that we had in terms of redirecting our people back into nature, back into the sun, back into grounding, back into eating a certain way. And now I'm hearing that those instructions being demonized because of who they, the people that may be attaching to giving those instructions. So can you speak to, like, is there something different that you feel about the sun that they would want to be demonizing it now?
Precisely. So what I'm recognizing in life that's happening, there is a thing that's called slow motion. Slow motion is happening with the sun. The sun itself has slowed down.
Right.
The sun is slowed down. And those who can see it will be able to see it, because you will be living life in slow motion. It's no longer in this state of franticness.
Yes.
Because there is a people on the face of the planet Earth who have come to crystallization. There's certain people on the earth who has come into a crystallized brain, to a crystallized mind has slowed down the sun. And so the sun that you're seeing today is a clear sun. The clearest of sun that we have seen in a long time.
Yes, clear. There you go.
For sure. It's the clearest of sun we've seen in a long time. So it's a clear basis, a clear bottom line. It's a clear thought moving through each and every being who can consciously understand what's happening. So, see? And then from there,
that let me just, because you know how we do, right?
Right.
Let me just add on to that my last 2 years of sun gazing, like you said, before 10 a.m. I get outside and I gaze. The refraction that came off the sun prior used to be a very scattered yellow or golden energy that when you gaze long enough, it became a kaleidoscope of colors.
Absolutely.
I don't see that no more. I see a pure, steady white energy light that you're getting off of the sun. There's no refracting.
Right now.
You know what I'm saying? It's just a glow, and it's intense. I'm not able to gaze the same amount of time if I don't start super early. But it's not violent. It's like you said. It's just it's just intense.
Right.
White glow. Yes.
Say, even to take it even a further step, I would say what you're looking at is no longer the Lucifer sun. So the Lucifer sun is a different type of sun altogether compared to the one that we are seeing currently. Because the clearing of the thought process, when you clear the thought process of the people who are the ones who created the sun in the first place, when you created the creators of the sun, sometimes, if we give a people on the face of the planet Earth a certain power for a time, and it was just for that time. Lucifer had a time. And then once that time was finished, therefore his sun is up. Right? So my sun is up.
So,
you see what I'm saying?
So the people that was operating in whatever capacity that they were operating were being powered by a refraction coming off of the sunlight that, instead of it being straight glow, it was like a refract, like a prism, and they operate within that prism. But once that prism is now consumed into wholeness or whole light, then that's a light, that's an energy, that's a conversation and a consciousness that supports wholeness. So right, and then they're playing with us, they're dangling aspects of what wholeness looks like. Like this past month for World Cup, we got to see all of the quote unquote colors collapse into one to get together, right? So we kind of seen what it looks like when, but at the same time that they was cosplaying over here how they could bring all colors together, those same origin countries were being melted by the new sun that was coming in. It was like, nah, I ain't forget. I'm gonna show up and clean up shop because y'all was benefiting from that old sun playing these old games. Now you're playing a world game on a world stage that is the derivative of the colonizer Hunger Games that you started.
For sure.
Because every team that they played was a derivation of a colonizer play that they made as well.
Precisely. And therefore, that game that continues to play in the field of Lucifer, that game, again, for everybody that's here to know, the game is itself is called a game that is called Lucifer. The game itself is the Luciferian force. It's a system. So as long as you consciously are in that system, And the game itself is your sun. So therefore, once how we do, we step up out of it. I used to call myself a wolf, but that was when I was studying the game. Right. Because you have to be in it to study it. You have to learn what you don't like, which is why we as Black people are dissecting. We do something called dissection a lot. This is what we do in our humanity, because we know what humanity is. So, and therefore we know what humanity isn't. So when we see it, we dislike it. So we dissect it because we are scientists. That's right. Scientists dissect until we no longer need to dissect it anymore. So we step back from it and we get to the real sun. The sun that stops, that looks at nature and says, you know what, I don't have to disturb nature. I don't have to dissect it anymore. I just need to align with it and harmonize myself to it. That part. So therefore, the sun that we see now coming is the clearest of sun. And therefore, in this last part, I won't go too much deeper on this. I just wanted to come in and chime in for a bit. Thank you, brother. Let y'all know who the Black Dragon was. You know what I'm saying? Because we off for the war. We on full Black Dragon. It's a Black Dragon out here. And the last part of this. The reason also that we see the sun in a different state is this. We was thinking that the sun was emanating light. The whole time the sun was absorbing light. And when you see a certain people out in the sun, what happens to their skin? What happens to their insides, right? It's almost like the sun starts to absorb all of the function within them. Drawing from them. It's almost like what you're seeing is absorbing, it's taking it up out of them. It's destroying their blood. So it's ripping it up out of them. It's ripping them apart. You see? And that's what the sun actually does. For us, it's a different thing. If it's a black hole, and we know that the sun itself is a black hole because at the beginning of this whole entire thought process was a sun. The sun beget more suns. You see? And so as we see that, we just remember what it is. Oh, we got a dark hole absorbing light. And we getting back to black. Get back to black. You got to go back to black. And that's the issue here with our people, because again, when we go back into the forefathers of this country, they was totally good Christians. And they were believing in everything that the Pope has told them to do. And that Pope issued and said, look, we need to take over, like you said, this West and this Eastern hemisphere. But the way to do it, we need to subject each and every brown skin, black skin people on the face of the planet Earth. Absolutely. And we need to make sure that the lighter versions of these people are empowered. So therefore they can feel connected to our throne. Absolutely. And therefore, once we got the whole world in an illusion, because all we want to do is put our own people in a hypnosis. Their own people, right. So they don't feel that what they do is even against life. Nature, right. Life and nature. Yeah, that's not against nature. So therefore, we're going to hypnotize our own blood. Their own blood, right? They got to they tricking those people into devilishment. Precisely. Because the natural order is to evolve and towards the sun. Right. So I'm I concur. I just wanted to chime in on that. Yes. You definitely added in, and again, as a Pisces, who represents not just a Pisces that does music, right? Right. Not just a Pisces that's submerged in deep thought,
not just a Pisces that understands our aspect as water signs and how we're able to gauge emotion and then fine tune it. And then you're able to instrumentate it as well by being a musician. But you also represent the youth, right? And the youth should have clearer eyes, right?
Yes, sir.
And yeah, again, I was always honored that we was able to bridge these conversations by having multi-generational observations of what's going on in real time and never
Precisely.
competing for the clarity of the vision, but bringing it to the
Right.
people that all spectrum we can appreciate all spectrums of light. And
Absolutely.
again, to this day, I still hear about the work that we did in 2020 when we were helping people gain vision and wisdom in times of alleged darkness. And I was telling the people, I'm like, hey, we did 7 figures in 2020.
I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you. Listen,
I'm like, it was vainglorious.
that's the beauty of this sun. This sun right here. This sun right here is all about business. You see what I'm saying?
It's about
If we really
business,
want to get
man.
down to the nitty gritty, this sun right here is business on its utmost complete scale.
Yes.
Because we got to remember that this world, it was always for our taking. Because if a certain people on the planet was disrespected for that long, if you got to look at the key to all of this.
Mm-hmm.
If you come from a Moorish Moroccan bloodline and you accepted an agreement, because it can only ever be an agreement. Let's just keep this 1,000.
All right.
It can only ever be an agreement upon our own selves that we're going to allow certain people for a period of time to see how you would rule. How would you rule?
Right.
You think and you say you can rule better than us. So we would like to know.
We would like to see it.
What
Right.
does that look like? We want to see what that look like. If you can rule better than us, then show us.
Right.
Show us.
Right.
Show us. Because remember, with guys, you got to show and prove.
It's
You know what I'm saying?
you got okay, you're from Missouri. You're from the show me state. Yeah.
Show us. And then I'm going to prove. See, guys so saucy. See, like, and then I'm going to tell you the exact time and the exact date that I'm going to show back up and pan it all back to me.
Right.
Pan it all back to the truth. Pan it all back to justice. Pan it all back to our full reality. You understand? And we're going to get all the way back to the I-10. We ain't doing none of this playing and shucking and jiving and hoopty-doopty, whoopty-woo with these folks. We keeping it all the way hip-hop. And that's the key to all of this. We rhythmatic people.
That's right.
A creative man don't even see rhythm. So he won't see the even rhythmatic connection between words and how words are literally the same thing. Even when I look at the word luck,
right? When
I talk about the word luck and when I say the word Lucifer, it's the same person. I could tonality, because we know that tonality just by tone and just by rhythm, that I could feel what that word means.
Mm-hmm.
I could sense it in my own, because I know how to move. I know how to dance. That word give me the same feeling. So, because to an upright being, to a righteous being, you know better. You know the difference moralistically from right from wrong, because we were taught that, and if you're not taught that, you gonna learn that if you melanin. This is what it is, because when it comes to melanated people, even if we are a fool, you can only be fooled so long, because the melanin itself is intelligence.
Is intelligence, right?
Is intelligence,
right? So it's going to do battle with you, because it can't be dumbed down forever. At some point, it has to rise, and it's going to pull your ass with it. Yeah,
it's going to, for sure.
That's the spacesuit that you're in. That spacesuit is conscious of itself. you have to be conscious of it while simultaneously becoming reminded of your own consciousness, because your consciousness is not just married to this physical form.
No,
but
it's not.
Your life is an engagement, with um coming into understanding of that relationship, mind, body, and soul, right? Especially the relationship that mind has with body, and then the body has with soul. Those are three separate things.
Precisely.
But when you get it, Shazam,
Oh,
one, right?
Shazam, Shazam,
Shazam.
Shazam.
So
Precisely.
yeah, man, that's thank
I
you
mean to
for
that, for sure, for sure. I
thank you
mean,
for really ushering and inaugurating the energy, and um symbolically enough, today's July 19th. Somebody in the chat said that sounds like 19. That's 19's brother. There's a cosmological alignment today called Barbo's basket. In Barbo's basket, there's 4 outer planets that are being aligned. The heavier, slow moving planets. But cosmologically, they said that this day, as I feel about every day, is the most powerful day in the calendar year. But the astrologers agree that today, because of the alignments with Jupiter in Leo, Pluto in Aquarius, um, what is Jupiter in Leo, Uranus in Gemini, Neptune in Aries, and Pluto in Aquarius, all at 4 degrees. These 4 planets are all at 4 degrees right now. And it supports the conversation that's being had. It amplifies the things that are being said. And I didn't have to tell you, how to bring it. You, once again, Piscean wise, subconsciously already know what has to be done on the stage that has been set here, right? For masterful demonstrations. So
absolutely.
yeah, thank you. Thank you for
Man,
being thank you for being that.
Thank you for always being a pillar.
Absolutely. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Because that's what's required always in each and every aspect of this realm. Having someone who's conscious and conscious.
Yes.
Where people are supposed to be guided to in thought.
Yes. So
because
yes,
we got a lot of jargon and people going in which and ever direction, but to guide people into the proper direction.
Yes.
And doing that, always at a conscious thinking that. You know what I'm saying? Really, really thinking, really putting your mind onto the pavement, and even going into these different realms that other people seem to, they know it's there. They see it. It looks like it looks colorful to them.
Yes.
And that's beautiful. Because they should look, joyful, because joy is at the top of this, of the kaleidoscope.
Yes.
While at the same time, to be in that astute brain and to take the astuteness that you recognize and going a little bit deeper, just going a little bit further, a step further than the rest. You know what I'm saying? That's what's required. And you do that at the utmost peak.
Thank you,
level.
brother.
Straight up. And this is off the chain. Thank you as well. XYZ is in motion. XYZ.com. I mean, XYZNatur.com. Just tap in. We about to start getting. We here now. So
we just spoke your brother's name, especially being, today is the 19th. We're on this 19th frequency, and he just tapped in.
Yeah. He gonna tap in.
I literally saw a notification from Twitter first that popped up where he said real men don't wear purses. and then I seen he joined at the same time. So I'm like, Yeah, we on this 19th energy today. The stage has been set. It's a World Cup global stage being set. There's a messianic ceremonial ritual that's taking place today. But like I said, the energies at the top of the rim. If you could jump above the rim, you could always snatch the energy for your own. We're not going to sit by and just bear witness to the energy being utilized. Today is the day of the Barbo's basket, once of the most significant cosmological days in the calendar year. No, we're gonna open forums and have discussions such as this, so we can permeate the atmosphere with the highest level of conversations and confirmations that are humanly possible. Because once again, we are the physical crystallization and embodiment of this information, that has made us in alignment for this precise moment in day and time and space. So when that happens, I always want to say thank you. I honor our relationship, I honor our connection, I honor our ability to do this work as a community collectively with one another as brothers, and all of us being extension of brotherhoods to one another. You know, the world needs more of it. And I've said it about 4 times today. I'll say it again because your brother's in the building as well. The work that we did in 2020 still permeates today, because while the rest of the world was in fear, we led with love, and it was heart energy. This was Jupiter and Leo energy, big king energy, big God energy. So not only did we stand on our individualized courage, we stood on courage as community. And see, he's with Pop Darby right now. We stood with courage as shifters, right?
We had big bank rolls. You know what I'm saying? I remember big bank roll.
Again, and I told the world, and I said it 3 times yesterday, that we did 7 figures in 2020 as a company, and it's not to flex. It's to show you that there's a reward that comes when you are prepared. There's a reward that comes when you're not in fear, and there's a reward that comes when you're in service to community and you're leading with your heart. That's what kings do. So absolutely, the and it's so important that we show that there are cosmic benefits, there are rewards that come with it. You know what I'm saying? There is considerations that you have from the cosmos when you are walking righteously. Oftentimes they think that this is a poor righteous teacher paradigm that only leads to a dead end. And it's like, no, your blessings, your rewards will continue to reap. They will continue to, register. They will continue in perpetuity, and time immemorial. Your royalties will return to you if you remain royal. And that message has to be presented to our children, right? Chiron and Taurus deals with wounds to Taurus's resources, Taurus's values. Taurus is big money institution, but Taurus can also be communication by way of our throats. So people who can't speak. So right before we moved into Chiron and Taurus, we saw them awarding Lauryn Hill, right, as a Gemini for not ending her communication, and Kanye West as a Gemini for not tucking his tail and having the biggest show of his career, being able to communicate. Again, these are wins for communicators. These are wins for people who are not part of the system necessarily. And these are also, wins for the collective consciousness of star seeds that have to communicate and channel the things that are needed, words or worlds. So if we're going to shift paradigms, they also can be done with communication.
Right. Now, this is the thing. Precisely, everything that you just put it into everyone's attention. Now, some of the best things that we can do for our own mind, because this is a war on wisdom.
Yes, a war on wisdom.
A war on wisdom. When we say World War III, the World War III is a war on wisdom.
It's a fact.
This is what this is about. So to be wise, to really be wise is, you know, it looks like acceptance. It looks like acceptance. It looks like posture. It looks like having a style to you, your own style. It looks like doing things that are proper.
Mm-hmm.
And always being proper and always keeping a proper way in which you handle people. Because handling of people is ultimately a responsibility. It's a responsibility of yourself first. So to be wise, it's never playing out. I said it's never playing out.
No.
You never plea out. Because plea it's a coward act. To be a coward, you cannot be a person who has empathy. Because the heart has to be strong. And if we're talking about Leo and we're going into that new space,
mm-hmm.
Leo is about really having a strong heart.
Yes.
Because having a strong heart means you can really love.
Really love, right.
Really love.
That unconditional that people love throwing around. What does that look like?
What that look like, what that sense is, what that feels like, what is that for our people?
What is that?
And so in a form of love is to communicate on a plane to which, I'm going to tell you something.
Tell it.
I traveled to my shadow plane. I've seen what that is.
Mm-hmm.
What was hidden in the underneath. Some people didn't like it. Some people saw that side of me, that part of me, and they judged me for that shadow.
They shunned it, right.
Even though the sun is always there shining, the sun is always there giving you a certain level of information and thought and process and always there for you and always putting out this level of depth. So I say, as I go into my shadow and people, because I need to understand how people move, how people work, because it's ultimately myself.
Mm-hmm.
So if you judge me in my shadow, then I know you don't know who me is. Because you probably have not yet known who you are.
Well, yeah, that's the trick of judgment. And
right.
I say it here all the time that if the mission here is to man know thyself, in order for me to judge you, I got to know everything about you. And if I do that, then that means I didn't spend enough time knowing me, right? Because once I catch it and I know me, first of all, why am I still here? Because there's nothing left to know. And if I know enough about me, then I know that me judging you is going to put me into a prison, because my heart's going to be heavier than a feather when it gets weighed. I attempted to do something that I should have known better than, which was judging another man. I don't know enough about that man to weigh everything that he weighed to make a decision.
Right.
Because ultimately that's what I'm judging, a decision that another man made.
We just want to what we all want, Blue. We all want the whole entire earth fucking back. That's what we want, right? Mm-hmm. That's the true goal here. The true goal is for you ain't sitting here to be looking at me and judging me. The true goal here is to go into this whole entire world and really judge them people who've been judging you.
How about that?
And me. You see what I'm saying?
How about
let's
that?
Let's go back and take over our world.
Right. Let's get that back. Let's start there.
Let's go take that back. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like, let's go do that together, because we all know what we've been through. Like, nigga, you ain't finna tell Harriet Tubman shit. It's like, what you gonna tell her? You know what I'm saying? You ain't finna go tell Harriet Tubman, and not to curse and things of that nature, because that means we're getting too excited. I don't want to get too excited, but you're not gonna tell Harriet Tubman. You just gonna respect Harriet Tubman.
Right.
That's all it's gonna be.
And a lot of they're working the nerve now to appear as if they could do a better job. Then you got to just do that. Again,
Right.
it's the show me state. You got to speak through your actions, and that's where we at right now. That actions speak louder than words, but words still build worlds.
They really do.
But I action words build stronger worlds because God and Godding are two separate terms. God is an action principle, just like love. It's an action verb. So I would rather see the worlds that are built off of action words, as opposed to just multi-syllabic, deep, long words. Like, don't just say words for the sake of word speaking, but let's build intentional worlds
sure.
with words that are built on bonds, and those bonds come from love.
Right, bond, love, and let's take it there because we really ultimately the wealthiest people.
Ultimately, right?
Ultimately the wealthiest people.
And that's the Chiron and Taurus aspect. The wounds to resources or the wounds to our value. Once we see ourselves as trillionaires, once we see where the wealth lies within in community, because it's not just me. It's like when I come to these functions and it's us, I'm like, nigga, we up. I don't even care what's going on in Madison Square Garden.
You know what I'm saying?
The 100 people in this room, is generating enough love energy, is generating enough appreciation frequency, and represent enough, like you said, mental aptitude and wisdom to create a whole new world based on love. I'm like, yeah, that I feel home there. I feel super home there.
You don't need a million people. You don't need a million people like they try to tell you to think that you need to do something in this world. No, get 100 people in a room.
Get 100 people
in a room. Let's just have a right dialect.
Right, right mindset.
Let's turn that down.
So again, and we could use the outer examples to shine the mirror on ourselves, and they amplify it with intention. So last Sunday, you seen 40,000 people in a stadium, and you saw them, singing lyrics. You got to be able to close your eyes and see 50,000 in the stadium singing your lyrics, or understanding if the science is effervescence. They said that was created in concert environments is something called effervescence. And effervescence means that everyone is operating almost on the same brain frequency. It's even killed. Yeah. And it's a layer of brain frequency where things can get done, right? Because it's one concentrated band of light. So knowing these sciences, once again, we just have to be so intentional going into our own spaces, having that same gnosis or that same knowledge. And when you activate intentionally with a knowledge base, then it's wise, right? And that becomes pockets of wisdom. You know what I'm saying? And then the fact that you went through and demonstrated that, then the people have an understanding that it can be done. And if it can be done, it can be duplicated. And if it could be done and it could be duplicated, then you got motion. And then that's how you start rebuilding this world that we want to see built on now, intentional words or a love language. What about a world that's built on a love language? But that love language has to be, it got to be glued by intention, right? The things that we saying to and about one another, we got to actually believe. But we got to go beyond belief. We got to actually, it has to be an action verb. It has to be something that we're doing. Yeah. So then we know that it's real.
It just got to be doing. Just doing. Doing. At this point in time in my life, I have only accepted that the people that I communicate with
Yes.
are only masterminding for people. I don't accept. You know how we can just accept a manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to accept any manifestation that is not in really coercion with you.
Yes.
It's your manifestation. So therefore, if you coming around me to talk about anything other than what I don't want to talk about, that's not. I don't. That don't equate.
Mm-mm.
It doesn't equate. You can stay right where you at. Because we're gonna talk about when I'm building with somebody, we are going to build because we here to take it over. There's nothing else to it. It's like what you want. What do you want? What do you want? What are you here for? Do you want to just exist? Because I think I want to actually just exist. You see, because true existence is beyond creation. True existence. Because it's just like water inside, if you take water and then you put ink in it, well, then somebody just created something. But the water was already there and it didn't need to be tainted.
Mm-hmm.
You see? It was already holding its own self, it was holding its own weight in existence. It already existed. So we didn't need to put ink into the water. You see? And in this world, we have had a lot of people putting ink into the water. Just throwing the ink, throwing the ink, throwing the ink. No, it's okay. We don't need that no more. Because as long as you remain a creator, you stay in this creator, when do you ever become the existence? How long are you going to be creating? When do you enjoy what you created? So therefore, when you hear and you preference this, you hear the black woman say, do something. Execute. Be a provider. These ain't things that she like, well, you want to label me the devil, then guess what? You give me a better house, I turn into the perfect wife. But as long as you got me in the trap, as long as you got me in hell, I'm gonna be hell.
That part.
You see what I'm saying? So, and that's what we gotta understand as men. Ain't no. This is what we here and on 10th earth is. It ain't no subjecting a woman to what you think this is. First of all, when that woman have children and things of that nature, this woman can see things beyond your sight. And just like you can see who her enemies are and things of that nature, who aren't supposed to, she see the same thing for you too, brother. Yeah, we got dragons that come in the back of our head, but at the same time, she watches beyond you. So you ain't no taking her sight away. No, don't take her sight away. So therefore, what we do is, again, you set the stage. You called it forth. I just came to the stage, right?
Yes, sir.
So it's the same thing with our woman, to the point where we as men sitting here not knowing that we could be doing so much more, because she is willing to see so much more for you. So we just allow for that to be. Now, the right one's going to do it, right? You got about the conversation we have. You already set the stage and letting people know, well, y'all got to get off of, you just have to absolutely get off the conquistador's time. And that's just what it is. Get off their program, and them people have an underlying prejudice for you.
Underlying.
that will never dissipate. Because what you're looking at is their reptilian brain. That's just how they function. There ain't no healing a reptile. You see what I'm saying? They're going to shed their own skin and they're going to grow on their own. You see, that's their modus operandi. But our modus operandi is different. We live in harmony. We live in grace. We see this on a whole different scale. So we're going to dissect their world. And yeah, they ain't supposed to like you. I don't expect them to like me, but they going to respect me.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. That's the difference. Right. That's the difference right respect.
There. Yeah.
That's the difference.
You ain't got to like me. But you going to respect it.
Yes. So that aspect that you speak about, the war on wisdom, the wow that they disguise and they call war on woke and things of that nature, you know, the people have to understand that it is very real. And once they get the full understanding or overstanding and understanding of it, that you can identify where you play, you know, what part of this particular showdown are you showing up as, and if you so choose to engage, you know, then you know you can either amplify, you know what I'm saying, your wisdom, and use that as a tool to say, once again, I don't care what they think, I don't care how they feel, I'm gonna continue to shine my light, you know, and if so what, if the masses is blind and they can't conceive of the light, at some point they will, you know. There's stars that are sitting up there that have been around trillions of years ago and their light's still shining. It's the same thing that I would tell somebody who has the capacity in this lifetime to leave light, to shine light, to amplify light. Like, make sure that your light is blinding enough that it will still shine trillions of years after you're physically here. And that's the opportunity that this lifetime affords you. That's what presence affords you. That's what having breath in your lungs today, you know, gives you that opportunity that you very well can be that person that fills that slot if you so choose to accept this assignment.
For sure. Man, you know, this, we just gonna really just, in a way in which you garner your respect, man, is, again, like they say, like Nipsey been saying, that first you get the money, the power, and respect. You know what I'm saying? So that's just the name of the game. That's
I mean, yeah, you know, and as he said, so famously quoted, the highest honor or the highest contribution, you know, or the highest impact that you can make on a person's life is inspiring them. It's that inspo, it's that inspiration. And inspiration comes by way of demonstration. So
you know, that's just Pisces. That's just naturally my gift. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
My natural gift in life is to be able to inspire, and it's really an awesome ability. And you know, I'm gonna keep on moving it forward in the music.
Yes.
You know, because I've already seen it in the dream plan. We're gonna speak on that on another note.
What's that in the background I'm hearing?
Can you hear it now?
A lot better, yep.
All right, so again, we got some things to work on. I've already seen it in the dream plan. And we're gonna work on that. We're gonna speak on it. We're gonna talk about it on another note.
Okay.
It's the story because it's time for me to get off. But I love y'all. I appreciate you. But you know, allow for me to chime in today.
Thank you. Thank you for tapping in, brother. It was so on point. It was such an alignment with today's alignment. And even before you leave, let me share with you, and I'll make an announcement here, that we're putting on a summer stage series here in Atlanta, in the west end of Atlanta. We have it starts on Lionsgate on 8/8 in the west end. Behind Wadata is a new establishment called PB&J, plant-based and juices. and we got the parking lot, we got a stage set up, and we got dope talent and artists that are coming through. Welcome to Atlantis.org is the site where people can go and secure your spot if you want to vend, if you want to show up, if you need details. But there's going to be a stage, a set here in Atlantis. There's going to be an open stage for performers to come through and add your flow, add your water. You know, let's create, let's crystallize this new crystal. Let's create the contours on this new crystal that will be one that shines and amplifies, you know, that's undeniable. We've had these conversations for almost 6 or 7 years now. So it's time. Shout out to Source Guard. Shout out to all of the artists who are, shout out, Me in America got a proclamation. Me, Red in America, our proclamation day is on Tuesday, July 21st. We'll be feeding in the community, but we'll also be making music, capturing the energy of the moment and always utilizing ourselves as instruments and open vessels to get this frequency out. I've heard snippets. I know that you out there working on music. I can't wait to hear what you got. Atlantis is always home, you know, especially for water signs. So
right, and that's
I look forward to it.
Man, I do too, man. I'm also looking forward to Atlantis just sitting there giving me more access to just the beautiful studios that I require right now. Because in that space, we can do some damage at this point in time. I've been in DC this whole time, and I was recording out there, you know, catching what I'm supposed to catch. But it's nothing like being able to come all the way full throttle, and utilize what's out here, you know, in this area. So I look forward to that as well. Now, you said it was the PB&J, welcome to Atlantis.org.
Welcome to Atlantis.org is the site, yes. PB&J is the venue. But yeah, I'll post it right here. This is my first time announcing it. But it's right on time. And I've always told you that when it comes to music, anything music based, our home is always your home. So that's considered done. If you need a lab to record in or somewhere to call home to park up to create, you know what I'm saying? Atlantis has that available. That's the beauty of
we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk after. We're gonna talk.
Yes, let's do that. It's sooner than later. I'm here. All right.
100%. And last but not least, I do want to let people know this. You know, I have the Father 10 book. Now, this is a book not by me. This is a book by my father. And this is a book that he wrote.
Baba Bashir?
Yeah, Baba Bashir. So what I'm doing is, you know, I'm really proud of my father for writing the book. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what I did was I took it and I gave it, you know, a platform. And that platform is at XYZ Natur. And I can just write it down here.
Yeah, write it down.
XYZ Natur.com. So on there, you can go get that sacred text from my father about what his upbringing was, what he saw.
Nah, I need to,
his personal account, you know, on life and his historical account on life, because he honestly, he created some, you know, some divine beings, counterparts on this face of the planet Earth. So I just think that if anybody really want to tap into a deeper level of form of continuity and original thought, then we really do want to honor, you know, the God consciousness. So
that's the God body. I need to get him on the show now that I know that he has a tome, a book out. You know what I mean? We've been flirting with this idea of a book club for a moment, but even at the event on 8/8, I would love for him to vend. I would love to see Kalima. You know, if the family still got the pride, I would love Goldwater to be there. I would love for, you know, Yeah,
so now what I may be interested in really like truly doing with that is I do got a lot of art.
Right on time, perfect. Right, bring the art out, bring the jewelry out, and let's get back to the community. It's time, and you know when we are timeless, it's never too late. But the time is now. So let's communicate. Let's tighten it up. You feel me? I look forward to it. I'm excited. You know, Pops is one of my favorite people.
Yeah, man. And I'm liking this. I'm liking that necklace you got around your neck as well too, though, bro.
Oh, this is this is
Shazam.
It's that Shazam. It's the lightning bolt on April 8th of 2024 when we had the total eclipse, and we took a picture of the sun. It looked like this. You know what I'm saying? Right. So then when I went to an event in August, which was the God Fest, a brother had the piece just sitting on the counter waiting for me. And I was just like, yo, that was again when we see these signs from the cosmos, when we see the natural communication, because the creator speaks through symbols and the creator speaks through inspiration, inspiring others in darkness to bring to light the things that you have also been dwelling upon in darkness. So a lot of what I'm hearing you say is confirmations about things that I have been wanting to see or thinking about. Like somebody was speaking about eldership in the community and mentorship, and I was just like, damn, I wish Papa Key would write something about his life and his upbringing, and how does a god create other gods? How does we know the Ma sons, but what about the Fa sons? Like,
for sure. Yeah, exactly. And he goes into it too. He goes into how it all came about, and then he got it, and then he
hold on, yeah, and I'll finish on this point because it's key. Even Chiron and Taurus, and I was explaining to people that we lost Mother Khadijah right when we moved into Chiron and Taurus. Literally, when we moved into Cancer, we lost the mother of the nation. That's what Cancer is. Chiron and Taurus means wounds to the Taurus, of which Minister Farrakhan is a Taurus. He said what? It was the hardest day of his life that Thursday when they interned her, right? And he said that he had issues speaking, communicating as a Taurus, but he got through it. I told us as a family we got to pray for his heart, right? And we also owe him apology before he leaves here, because everything that he was silenced for, everything, the weight that he spoke about that was put on his family, that falls on the woman of the family, because she's the one like, why they talking about you like that? She's the one that feels when the clamps come down. Yeah, the brothers and the kings, you know, we you know what I'm saying? We tighten up and we deal with it, but the shit it hits the soft feminine in the way in which you always got to check with them. Are you good? Yeah, right? When we take the arrows in public, everything he took an arrow for, we see now once the documents have come out, once the whole world has caught up. No, Farrakhan was giving us insight from day one. No, Farrakhan was taking care of us as his people and his children from day one as a quote unquote metaphorical father figure who has already seen the face of the dragon and came back and said, yo, yeah, not only is he a dragon, but he breathes fire. I wouldn't go there if I was you. How dare you? How dare I, nigga? Look at y'all.
How dare you? Because it's like, nigga, I don't look the devil
directly in his face, right? So we need to create a campaign, even if it's a chain a petition online. And I meant to call. I've been calling 19, but we've been playing phone tag. I'm gonna connect after this because these are the bold moves that we make today. We need to create a petition where the community needs to apologize to Farrakhan for not defending him when the devil came for him and attempted to silence him. And we didn't jump off the internet. We ain't stopped using social media. But this person who has sacrificed everything for the love of his people, we cannot allow him to go out on a note where he don't know his people was appreciative. Because I saw the pain in his eyes when his wife left, and he's like, she left not knowing. And only confirmed with what he was able to tell her, like, I'm good, we good. You know what I'm saying? And the sacrifice was worth it. Like, these are the things that I see when I'm looking at our ability as community to heal wounds amongst our elders. Until then, it's impossible for us to create space for the generation coming up behind us because they can't stand you elder niggas. Rightfully so.
Right. You know, because
So
it goes back into the thought of, you know, let me say this right here.
Please do.
That, you know, man's wisdom lasts or is supreme until another one that is more supreme. And a lot of these brothers have thought that their wisdom, you know, that it just outshine someone who is moving an entire nation. And the things that he was seeing and things that he was procuring and doing, you know, you always gonna have a couple bastards who pretty much, you know, just are against truth. And those who are against truth and justice, you know, they really make themselves known. And what it does is it creates this ability for those who can see truth to know that, oh, well, you're just one of those bastards who the messenger is speaking upon. Honestly, because if you want to go against someone who's fighting for not only their life but for your life, and to speak ill upon this person in any manner, this represents it represents the total ill-fated being that you are in your heart. So when it comes to an apology, a true apology to someone like who has the supreme wisdom and knowledge and understanding of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, then that actually looks like more so an action. The only thing that can be done is to really honor his wife. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
For him, he don't be like, it's nothing you can say to me. You gonna have to talk to my wife. You see what I'm saying? You gonna have to tell my wife. You gonna have to
apologize to her, right?
You see what I'm saying?
For the damage you've done to my family, right?
She said she ain't gonna let up. Because I just saw something that a Pisces just shared. She was like, a Pisces just said that if I die, the whole house gonna be haunted. I'm gonna be the ghost of the house. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's like, but that's the mindset truly of how when we talking about that weight that a woman does carry because she's with a supreme being. For the man, for him at that point in time, and especially at that age of mastery, he's looking for, I can only imagine, you console my wife, you apologize to my wife.
Right.
That suffices for me, and that allows for me to move on. You know what I'm saying? Because
that will heal my heart. Not you apologizing to me.
You know what I'm saying?
But
I don't apologize to me because I knew what my fight was from the beginning. I knew I was gonna have to fight people like you. I knew I was gonna be up against people like you. I knew you these type because I love you that deep. You see what I'm saying? To even continue this fight for you. So it's like apologize. Apologize in that way. Apologize to my wife. You know what I mean? That to me is respect. You gotta always respect the black woman. You gotta respect her. You gotta respect her position. you gotta respect what she has been doing, because in the way that she sees, and this is why if we want to get down to the last bottom line of this, and then I really want to get off of here after this. I was looking at your necklace as well, your other one with the cowrie shell.
Yes.
And when you said, we should do a petition, you know what I'm saying? Then what you're saying is, it's like, that communication and me you gonna have offline. We can, we're gonna figure out on a whole nother scale.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
We're gonna figure that on a whole nother scale.
When you said what you said, I understood. You said no, apologize to his wife. I said, oh, now this requires us to go under the dirt and do some things on a different level and scale to speak to the spirit of the matter. Yeah.
Because we're looking at North America. This land is so beautiful. Talk to it.
Oh my God. This is it. I love this land. It's beautiful.
You talk to this land, I'm telling you.
It's beautiful. America the beautiful. Don't get it misconstrued with the people here. No, the land is divine. It's queen. Like, you want to speak to the epoch of divine femininity, pick some soil up on this earth, on this land, man, and speak to it. And you're gonna speak direct to the divine communication. Matter of fact, rub it in your face. If like get coated in it, lay it in the earth of it. Allow the get in the field while it rains, nigga.
Right. A lot of people, because you got a lot of people saying, I'm indigenous. Where your indigenous action? You know what I'm saying? Where the action is at? Where's that connection at, though? You got the body. The story.
They got angry. Right? They got angry with me, but I was like, the soil will vouch for me. I got a great relationship with the sand. They called me a tether because my people from the Caribbean, and at first it hurt because I know how much I've done for people, and I never asked them to see an ID. Right? If you remotely look like me, you part and parcel to the all. And even if you don't, nigga, we still put on for people who don't look identical to us, for the world to be a better place, for the earth to be more restored. But I'm like, the same people saying that, I'm like, do you know the work that I've done in this land? Not even for the people, for the land. For the energy nodes, do you know the earth centers? Do you know that I've had time I've created devices. I've spent time with the earth, not the people, just the earth to remediate it. Like, look, we're gonna put these diodes here on the planet. We're gonna put these, you know what I'm saying, these cloud busters. We're gonna put this copper piping here. We're gonna create these nodes. We're gonna go to these geodetic points. We're gonna go to these earth mounds. I'm like, that was done to bring balance back to this landmass. Us telling people 15 or 20 years ago that everyone ain't from the continent was to redirect people's attention to honoring the earth under their feet, because your mind can be in Africa and your butt is in America and you don't understand the connection. Then I'm like, the value and the fortune is right under our feet, because this landmass is abundant and it's always fed us, it's always given us cover, it's always given us comfort, it's not attacked us. Don't get it confused with the devil that's been here on top of the land, that has been ravishing Mother Terra, who's been creating terrorism on terra firma. I'm like, the land has always given us cover. The bosom has always opened up and embraced us. Right? We owe it a thank you every opportunity that we get, because it ain't do us wrong.
Right. It really has.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, the same thing as you said. So the people that claiming it, the people that want to be aligned with it, it can't just be in name alone. Why your hands ain't in the soil? Are you grounded in the dirt? Do you know the spirit name of this land? Do you speak to it? Can you decipher what the wind is saying? Like, how much time do you spend in nature actually reconnecting with what nature has to offer you in terms of medicine. Thank you, Vic. So I don't see enough of that for people to be like, if everyone was embracing their indigenous identity, then the land would be operating 100 times more in our benefit, and we would be able to tell. But I'm glad that they at least got to the water, even if they ain't drink. They're still standing at the throes of the well, and I look forward to the next 4 or 5 or 6 years because this one is got to show improve. If you for the planet, if you for environment and sustainable ecosystems, you up against data centers, you up against doodle infested water, you up against collapsing bees and the colony collapse because of bad. So the bees are already catching it because of the bad water. The bees is catching it because of the 5G centers. The bees is catching it because of the chemtrails. The bees is catching it because of the pesticides on the food. So these foundational layers of which the entire world is built upon are being threatened, as well as original man. So what we finna do? There's a lot of different approaches to it, but also knowing that you hold the space to create sonics and music, that's a big contribution as well. Because nothing can accelerate a message quicker than some music. And nothing can paint a picture and strum a heartstring more than an intentional, tune. So you also are a water bearer in that regards. And I just want you, as always, to embrace your calling. And it's never too late to get to work or to complete an unfinished one. Shout out to my brother Oba that just tapped in.
It's really just been. It's really saving. To me, I like savoring in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like I'm in supercomputers. We computers, right?
Mm-hmm.
We computate. But after a while, you learn what certain patterns are. You start to recognize each and every pattern. That's, becomes my gift. After a while of paying so much of my attention to the right things and, taking my time and going into slow motion, like back into this new sun that we see. Now we can activate that new sun. Oh, now we can take it and bring it into our own direct motion, our own direct sunlight. It's only going to reflect this now, So I took it upon myself to learn what I needed to know on the back end. What is the back end? What is the underlying? What are these structures? What are these isolated structures to build? So I went into that space. And then once I built that out, then it was like, okay, it's time for me to communicate. Communicate this message that is to be broadcast. And once you broadcast that direct message, that there's ain't no fluff in this message. This is a direct message. This is a message that has been, completely in perfect posture. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And once you got into perfect posture and you've been able to be a direct transmuter of a message, now it's like, oh, this is what you were taking me through these lessons in life to learn these spiritual things,
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, I recognize it's just that journey, and I love that journey. And then once that journey actualizes into its full view for myself,
Mm-hmm.
now the world can get with what we call, again, hip hop. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, we done heard everything else. So that's cool. But like you said, Shazam.
Shazam. Shazam.
Shit, damn. I like that. I like that. I like that. That's an upgrade.
Yes, indeed.
That's an upgrade. That's an
But
upgrade, right?
you know, check that site out, and we got to get you back in front of these good people with the music in no time. And like I said, even if you out in the DMV area, you know what I'm saying, we just gotta connect some dots. We got people out there as well.
For sure, for sure. So yeah, we'll talk soon, Blue.
All right.
All right.
Peace, my brother. Yeah, y'all. I'm gonna jump right into this because we were still in Deuteronomy, right? That's real early in the book. The promises of God. And I'm sure that, as we go through the scripture, it will reflect a backdrop to the conversation that was just had. And I'm in the experience, and I'm honored to have the experience. Again, I said shout out to my brother Oba, who just popped in the building. I gotta get you back in the building very soon as well. Oba, we gotta revisit our conversation. Shout out to my brother Farmer Chris, right? Appreciate you as well. And so many other people who passed through the audience today as we set the stage on this very powerful cosmic day. Shout out to Shaka Bars. He set it off. The promises of God. Do not be afraid of them. Be sure to remember what the Lord your God did to Pharaoh and all of Egypt, the great trials that you saw, the signs and the wonders, the mighty hand and outstretched arm by which the Lord your God brought you out. The Lord your God will do the same to all of the peoples you now fear. Moreover, the Lord your God will send the hornet against them until even the survivors hiding from you have perished. Um, Interesting. I've been flooded by hornets this year. I got a chance to set up the bees and everything, but we had to shut it down because of the hornets. Right, the hornets are overtaking um, the outside, and I've been having this issue with hornets in my room where there's no identifiable way that I can show that they come through the screen. They come through the same window almost every single day. And because I got my queen bee in there, I've been having to exterminate them, and it's been tugging at my heart because I just be wanting to send them back wherever they came from. But I don't know where they're coming from. They got to be coming through a portal because how they coming through the screen? I locked them in the window for hours so they could go out the same way they came in and they never leave. So I'm like, I don't know how they coming in, but I've been having to take them out. You know what I'm saying? But the hornets are something else, man. Hornets or something else. They disrupted my bees this year. Yeah, I despise having to eliminate these insects, man. I just wish that they more of them would listen. But the hornets is spiritual. The hornets is something else, man. Deuteronomy 4:34. Or has any God tried to take as his own a nation out of another nation by trials, signs, wonders, and war, by a strong hand and an outstretched arm, and by great terrors, as the Lord your God did for you in Egypt before your own eyes? So this conversation again has so many layers, and it gets so deep about bringing a people that are welcome into a nation out of that nation when that nation stops becoming hospitable to those same people. Joshua 7:19, the sin of Achan, and he had the family of Zabdi come forward man by man, and Akshan, son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, was selected. So Joshua said to Achan, my son, give glory to the Lord, the God of Israel, and make a confession to him. I urge you to tell me what you have done. Do not hide it from me. It is true, Achan replied. I have sinned against the Lord, the God of Israel. This is what I did. Then he tells his sins. 1 Samuel 6:5. Make images of your tumors and of the rats that are ravishing the land. Give glory to the God of Israel, and perhaps he will lift his hand from you and your gods in your land. You know, we ain't gonna go through all of nuances in the subtext is today. I just need to breeze through this because I am starving. Judges 7:19. Gideon divides Midian. When I and all who are with me blow our horns, then you are also to blow your horns from all around the camp and shout for the Lord and for Gideon. Gideon and 100 men with him reached the outskirts of the camp at the beginning of the middle watch, just after the changing of the guard. They blew their horns and broke the jars that were in their hands. The three companies blew their horns and shattered their jars. Holding the torches in their left hands and the horns in their right hands, they shouted, a sword for the Lord and for Gideon. Right? They was riding for Gideon. 2 Kings 7:5. So they rose at twilight and went to the camp of the Arameans. But when they came to the outskirts of the camp, there was not a man to be found, for the Lord had caused the Arameans to hear the sounds of chariots, horses, and a great army, so that they said to one another, look, the king of Israel must have hired the kings of the Hittites and the Egyptians to attack us. Thus the Arameans had arisen and fled at twilight, abandoning their tents and horses and donkeys. The camp was intact, and they had to run for their lives. So false evidence appeared as real to them, and they averted the elimination at the swords of their competition, and that saved, you know, the Israelites, I guess, an entire fight, intercession and interceding on behalf of their God to cause fright in the hearts of their enemies. Samuel subdues the Philistines. So all of these people that the Israelites initially are going up against, they have appeared to have some advantage over them, right? But as long as they remain grounded, as long as they remain focused, as long as they remain in obedience, if you will, then they're they're giving providence, they're giving divine intervention or assistance, right? And they're able to do the impossible, if you will. Samuel subdues the Philistines. Every year he would go on a circuit from Bethel to Gilgal to Mizpah, judging Israel in all of these places. Then he would return to Ramah because his home was there. And there he judged Israel and built an altar to the Lord. Let's do a cross correlation, a cross reference, and then move on. 1 Samuel 119. The next morning they got up early to bow and worship before the Lord, and then they returned home to Ramah. And Elkanah and had relations with his wife Hannah, and the Lord remembered her. So in the course of time, Hannah conceived and gave birth to a son. She named him Shamuel, saying, because I have asked for him from the Lord. Let's go to 2 Samuel 7:19. See what we got. Okay, we in the building. David's prayers at Thanksgiving. See what they say. Then King David went in, sat before the Lord, and said, who am I, O Lord God, and what is my house that you have brought me this far? And as if this was a small thing in your eyes, O Lord God, you have also spoken about the future of the house of your servant. Is this your custom with man, O Lord God? What more can David say to you? For you know your servant, O Lord God. Cross reference before we move on. 1 Chronicles 17:16. Then King David went in, sat before the Lord, and said, who am I? Okay, we already damn near the same scripture. Psalms 89:3. You said, I have made a covenant with my chosen one. I have sworn to David, my servant. I will establish your offspring forever and build up your throne for all generations. Selah. 1 Kings. See if they got a 7:19 in here. These are the crowning of the king coronations, which lead to the messianic forces. We will see a identical ceremony done today in a ritualistic succession of the messianic force. So either Messi gets it and further cements his Messiah claims of the Messiah of football, which is itself a religion, or we're going to see the succession of the Messiah, right, where they're going to be handing it to Yamel, right? But we're definitely going to be seeing that today. Um, the work of Hiram. Likewise, he made the pillars with 2 rows of pomegranates and each grafting to cover each capital atop the pillars. And the capitals atop the pillars in the portico were shaped like lilies, 4 cubits high. On the capitals of both pillars, just above the rounded projection next to the network, were the 200 pomegranates in rows encircling each capital. So these are the instructions for them to build out the twin pillars in the temple, right? 2 Chronicles 4:12, the 2 pillars, the 2 bowl-shaped capitals atop the pillars, the 2 sets of networks covering both bowls of the capitals atop the pillars, the 400 pomegranates for the 2 sets of networks, 2 rows of pomegranates for each network covering both the bowl-shaped. Again, more instructions on how to build out the temple, which is in and of itself is a replica of the temple of man. So as much structure, as much attention as we put into the physical structure of building out a physical temple, how much attention and energy and focus do we spend into us building out our temples, our physical temples, the continuity of our life force? Are we aiming for longevity? I'm living at least to be 500 years old, at least, and that's on the short order of things, right? But that requires an exorbitant, extraordinary amount of work, even for me to sacrifice and do things in the now that will reverberate 100 years from now. Because I got to make it at least past 150 to make it to 500. That's a lot of life that you got to be living, right? Which just requires a whole lot of discipline. And you either got it or you don't, right? I'm testing myself to see where I stand in it all. 2 Kings 7:19. The sage lifted. It happened just as the man of God had told the king. About this time tomorrow, at the gate of Samaria, 2 seahs of barley will sell for a shekel, and a shiah of fine flour will sell for a shekel. And the officers had answered the man of God, "Look, even if the Lord were to make windows in heaven, could this really happen?" So Elisha had replied, "You will see it with your own eyes, but you will not eat any of it." And that is just what happened to him. The people trampled him in the gateway and he died, right? Man. Let's keep it moving. Let's go to 1 Chronicles. And I'm just gonna run through the Old Testament today, y'all. I unfortunately have some stuff that I need to tend to, and I'm not gonna get to do the New Testament run today. And this is the first, right? But hopefully you ain't gonna hold me to the fire for it, and I do apologize in advance. The descendants of Manasseh, his sister Hamakалeth gave birth to Ishdod, Abiezer, and Malah. And these were the sons of Shemida, Ahian, Shechem, Laki, and Aniam. Whew. Chronicles. Let's go to 2 Chronicles. Let's see if they got a 719 over here. Let's see. 719. They got a 719. Let's go through it. The Lord's response to Solomon, right? Then I will establish your royal throne as I covenanted your father David when I said, "You will never failed to have a man to rule over Israel. But if you turn away and forsake the statutes and commandments I have set before you, and if you do go off to serve and worship other gods, then I will uproot Israel from the soil I have given them, and I will banish from my presence this temple I have sanctified for my name. I will make it an object of scorn and ridicule amongst all of the people. So what happened? He didn't keep the covenant. He did serve other gods. He definitely broke the covenant and when it had a multiplicity of children with daughters that were not of Israel. And what happened? The temple got destroyed. And what happened? His fortunes got ravished and pillared, right? And what happened? The whole aspect of the temple has been scorned ever since. And what happened? He broke the covenant and uprooted the people. So why doesn't the fault lie with Solomon? Solomon is at the temple of every Masonic and esoteric organization, right? Is the is the shipping for farming organics all next day express? I don't think so. Let me check on it. I don't think so though. Solomon, right? Solomon is also dealing with the seal of Solomon, which deals with the 72 Goetia. So if you dabbling and dipping with demons and the Goetia and shit like that, you going through Solomon as well. So why is none of this fall back on Solomon? Solomon was dabbling with the 666 talents of gold and messing with them demons. Why does don't fall on Solomon? You can't go through no occult esoteric initiation or school and you're not dealing with Solomon to some degree. Artaxerxes' letter to Ezra. You and your brothers may do whatever seems best with the rest of the silver and gold according to the will of your God. You must deliver to the God of Jerusalem all of the articles given to you for the service of the house of your God. And if anything else is needed for the house of your God that you may have occasion to supply, you may pay for it from the royal treasury. Ezra 1 2. This is what Cyrus, king of Persia, says: The Lord, the God of heaven, who has given me all of the kingdom of the earth, has appointed me to build a house for him at Jerusalem in Judah. Whoever amongst you belongs to his people, may his God be with him, and may he go to Jerusalem and Judah and build the house of the Lord, the God of Israel. He is the God who is in Jerusalem. And let every survivor, wherever he lives, be assisted by the men of that region with silver, gold, goods, and livestock, along with a freewill offering for the house of God in Jerusalem. So this is the building of the second house that was being dedicated and built by the king of Persia, who was King Cyrus, right? Who wanted to restore the temple. Nehemiah 7:19, the list of returning exiles. All right, we ain't got to go through that. Let's see what Esther got. Let's see what Job got. Okay. Since Esther is going to be speaking about the persecution, nope, there's no Esther. Let's go to Job. Job is going to be speaking about the lamentations and the persecutions. Let's see what Job got for us. Job 7:19. Job continues, life seems futile. You will never look away from me or leave me alone to swallow my spittle. Will you never look away from me or leave me alone to swallow my spittle? If I have sinned, what have I done to you, O watcher of mankind? Why have you made me your target so that I am a burden to you? So Job was obedient. He was one of, God's people that abided by the commandments, that did everything by the book. He was able to work up a fortune because he felt that he was righteous and he did it the right way, yet he was the most tormented. And God was putting him through the quote unquote alleged, so-called ringer to see if he would break protocol, to see if he would collapse on his own wave and he will fall victim to his emotions right, and throw the word out the window and start attacking God. He never did. Psalm 17, I take refuge in you. His troubles recoil on himself, and his voice falls on his own head. I will thank the Lord for his righteousness and sing praise to the name of the Lord Most High. So it's like, regardless of what happens to you, if God is on your helmet or not, pause. Whatever predicament that you find yourself in, right? You're never to curse your God or your creator or the force that powers up the resilience that you have to bounce back and to do better or to see the silver lining or to have enough patience within yourself to sit with yourself and say, is this retribution or payback from something that I may have potentially done but forgot about? What about in my past life? Like, these are the things that are required before you start middle fingering, you know, the source from whence you came. Warnings about the adulteress. Proverbs 7:19. Come, let us take our fill of love till morning. Let us delight in loving caresses. For my husband is not at home. He has gone on a long journey. He took with him a bag of money and will not return until the moon is full. Right? So he out making the donuts, you know what I'm saying? And she's in the crib doing the glazing. He's out making the donuts and she's at home glazing donuts. Pause. Shit crazy, man. Um, 2 Samuel's 11:1. Now this is David. This is the root. This is the father of Solomon. If you want to see where the possible interaction with demonic forces may have potentially come from, because the contract or the covenant was compromised through the bloodline epigenetically, let's go back and see what David did to Saul, how he snaked him for his woman, right? Oh no, it wasn't Saul. It was, what's his name? Hold on, I get back to the story. In the spring, at the time when kings march out to war, David sent out Joab and his servants with the whole army of Israel. They destroyed the Ammonites and besieged Rabbah, but David remained in Jerusalem. One evening, David got up from his bed and strolled around on the roof of the palace, and from the roof he saw a woman bathing, a very beautiful woman. So David sent and inquired about the woman, and he was told, that is Bathsheba, right? The daughter of Eliam and the wife of Uriah the Hittite. So that's who he lined up. He lined up Uriah the Hittite and sent his ass to war on the front lines, and he got clipped. And he took his woman, right? That's the daddy of Solomon, the one who signs the contract with the Creator. The limits of human wisdom. It is good to grasp the one and not let the other slip from your hand, for he who fears God will follow both warnings. Wisdom makes the wise man stronger than 10 rulers in a city. Surely there is no righteous man on earth who does good and never sins. Right? They said, surely there is no man on this earth who does righteous and never sins. So this is in Ecclesiastes. This is in the Old Testament before the narrative, quote unquote, story of Jesus. So this is what the brother was saying earlier about the war on wisdom and how powerful wisdom is, how powerful righteousness is against wickedness, right? Wisdom makes the wise man stronger than 10 rulers of a city. You feel me? Holding true to your proclamation and your covenant to righteousness in the face of temptation and all of them things. That's how you gain strength. That's how you gain what they call ashe, right? That's how you strengthen those resolves and create even more of a fortified force field and protection around yourself. You got to show up and show out when you're being tested. It builds up your strength. It builds up your immunity. builds up your conviction, builds up your ashe, builds up your aura, builds up your force field. Isaiah 7:19, judgment to come. On that day the Lord will whistle to the flies at the furthest streams of the Nile and to the bees in the land of Assyria, and they will all come and settle in the steep ravines and clefts of the rocks, and all of the thorn bushes and watering holes. On that day the Lord will use a razor hide from beyond the Euphrates, the king of Assyria, to shave your heads and the hair of your legs, and to remove your beards as well. Right? Um, yeah, let's do a cross correlation and keep it moving. Obadiah 1:3, the pride of your heart has deceived you, O dwellers in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is the heights, who say in your hearts, who can bring me down to the ground? Be humble, be quiet. Jeremiah 7:19. 7:19. Judah's idolatry persists. The sons gather wood, the fathers light the fire, and the women knead the dough to make cakes for the queen of heaven. They pour out drink offerings to other gods to provoke me to anger. But I am the one they are provoking. But am I the one they are provoking? Declares the Lord. Is it not themselves they spite to their own shame? Therefore, this is what the Lord God says: Behold, my anger and my fury will be poured out on this place, on man and beast, on the trees of the field and the produce of the land, and it will burn and not be extinguished. So God does this in the Bible, right? He punishes the people and he punishes the land and he punishes the produce. Have the people of America done something to piss off God where he's now shitting on the water that's used to water the produce? Is God taking the crap on the produce and taking the crap on the land and the people? Is America in that much trouble? Is America in that much condemnation? Is America in that much judgment? That that's what we're now seeing? Who would allow their produce to be contaminated with shit water? Who's allowing this? Why are the people not in the streets up in arms? Why are they taking it so laid back? Pause. Are the people deserving of this? Jeremiah 9:24, but let him who boasts boast in this, that he understands and knows me, that I am the Lord who exercises loving devotion, justice, and righteousness on the earth. For I delight in these things, declared the Lord, but also who operates in retribution, who operates in contempt, who operates in jealousy, who operates in destruction, who says that we're going to destroy the land, the produce, the animals, and the man that exists within them because the people are in contempt. That same God, oh, you got your hands full, my nigga. Got your hands full. Ezekiel 7:19. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. The desolation of Israel. And just like the Coptics and the Rastas that tell you that Ethiopia is the earth, the people that adhere to this stuff will tell you that Israel is, more than just the landmass that we are looking at today in the Middle East. You feel me? They will put on sackcloth, and terror will overwhelm them. Shame will cover all of their faces, and all their heads will be shaved. They will throw their silver into the streets, and their gold will seem unclean. Their silver and gold cannot save them in the day of the wrath of the Lord. They cannot satisfy their appetites or fill their stomachs with wealth, for it became the stumbling block that brought their iniquity. His beautiful ornaments they transformed into pride and used them to fashion their vile images and detestable idols. Therefore, I will make these into something unclean for them. This is one hell of a judgment on a people who fall back on their finances and their fortunes to think that, one, that's an example of them being the chosen ones, or two, that they can bribe their karma away from reaching them. That if they end up in the basket of Barbeau, right, that they can buy their ways out because they got shekels of silver and gold. This is saying that they can't, right? This is saying that they will be the detestable ones, right? And their gold and the silver will be looked upon as dirty, like ill. Like, don't take money from them. Don't take money from the Zionists, right? We're going to see possibly a demonstration today with the World Cup where Spain is anti Zionist. They appear to represent Rome, they appear to represent the church, or they appear to represent liberalism, right? A love for humanity. Whereas Argentina represents the Zionists, they represent the perfect man, they represent us versus them, they represent, everything that's not embracing of Palestinians or liberal politics, you know what I'm saying, or togetherness or uniformity. They represent the most crystallized version of a white Christ that you can conceive of, a Protestant version, a neo-colonial version. You feel me? So when they say you can't even accept the money from the Zionists, their gold and their silver, if Spain wins, you may potentially see them rebuking the Zionist state on the international stage. But if the Zionists win, if Messi wins and becomes the messianic force that has been, he does some miraculous thing in this game, he's going to pay all homage to the Zionists, to Israel. They're going to get to wallow and share in his victory on the global stage and middle finger the rest of the countries that don't agree with their policies, of which they feel has been derived directly from God. That's the game that's being played, not just a fucking soccer match. This is global positioning, yes, for people to have the audacity to say, fuck them other people's lives. You know what I'm saying? Our lives are the most important, and we're the chosen ones that in the providence of this new sun, like that sun that they show you on the Argentinian flag, the black sun that the Nazis that went there, right, exemplified the Syrian sun, where they feel that they are the recipients of the new providence that's coming by way of this new sun, this beaming and permeating and changing this planet as we watch. Argentina cheated. Don't they always cheat? Right? Is that not the point, that they can cheat and you can't do anything about it? Have the Zionists cheated? Right? How you think they genocided those people? Was that not cheating with AI technology? So what do you call cheating? The outcome that you're not appreciating? You shouldn't have been playing their game to begin with, knowing that you can't be protected. It's like Boosie going to get remedy from the people who robbed him. He going to their homeboys to tell them that he got robbed. That's like you signing up for the World Cup and thinking that you're not going to get cheated. And this shit is known as a fraudulent organization and institution. My nigga, what are we doing? Daniel 7:19. Daniel's visions interpreted. But the saints of the Most High will receive the kingdom and possess it forever. Yes, forever and ever. Then I wanted to know the true meaning of the fourth beast, which was different from all of the others, extremely terrifying, devouring and crushing with iron teeth and bronze claws, then trampling underfoot whatever was left. I also wanted to know about the 10 horns on his head and the other horn that came up, before which three of them fell. The horn whose appearance was more imposing than the others, whose eyes and with a mouth that spoke words of arrogance. So you got Messi wearing number 10, and you got the number 4 being exemplified today in Bardot's basket by 4 planets, right? Jupiter and Leo, Pluto and Aquarius, Uranus and Gemini, Neptune and Aries, all being in 4-degree aspects. All being in 4-degree aspects, right? You clearly see that taking place today. You feel me? Yeah, this is a good observation. Based on pure 360-degree solar calendar, right? So not the Christian calendar, not the Gregorian calendar, but on the solar calendar, she's saying today is May 25th, 2020. What you do with the info is on you. Okay? What you do with the info is on you. Today is a very powerful, energetic day, right? So yeah, Daniel 7:19. This is an interesting one. Okay. I really want to. I'm gonna have to go through the New Testament because that's where we're gonna find the breakthroughs and the codes to this messianic energy that's being amplified and ritualized today. So we're gonna have to go through the New Testament, and I'm just gonna have to bear with it. Um, yeah, you know, I think we've been on this thing is going on 3 hours. I ain't eat yet, so I'm just going through it right now. I'm going through it right now, but I I'm sacrifice a little of discomfort to get through this with y'all because we need to speak to this. We need to catch this energy while it's here. Amaziah accuses Amos. Now, therefore, hear the word of the Lord. You say, do not prophesy against Israel. Do not preach against the house of Isaac. Therefore, this is what the Lord says. Your wife will become a prostitute in the city. Your sons and daughters will fall by the sword. Your land will be divided by a measuring line. And you yourself will die on pagan soil. And Israel will surely go into exile away from their homeland. That's what the children of Israel are experiencing right now. Amos 7:17. Your wives are looked at as prostitutes in the city, right? Your sons and daughters are being felled by the swords, by these police. Your land is divided by a measuring line. You're being redlined, and you yourself will die on pagan soil. Okay? Israel will go into exile away from the homeland. So, yeah. Again, who are you in the narrative? Who do you represent? Is the book speaking about you? Is it speaking to you? Or are you eavesdropping on a conversation that you don't got nothing to do with? You on the sidelines trying to figure out how you fit in still? Lamentations 2:21. Both young and old lie together in the dust of the streets. My young men and maidens have fallen by the sword. You have slain them in the day of your anger. You have slaughtered them without compassion. We all know how these stories go. Jonah, we don't got no seventh book. Let's go to Micah. Do we got one in Micah? Micah has the last seventh book. Is there any 7:19? Yes, there is. Let's read it. God's compassion on Israel. Who is God like you who pardons iniquity and passes over the transgressions of the remnants of his inheritance? Who does not retain his anger forever because he delights in love and devotion? He will again have compassion on us. He will vanquish our iniquities. You will cast out all of our sins into the depths of the sea. You will show faithfulness to Jacob and the love and devotion to Abraham as you swore to our fathers from the day of old. So I say here today that God is to cast out judgment on the people, right? That once we pass through this bitter spell, that we are to be embracing the love and devotion in the bosom of mother and father, right? That the cosmic covering be over the children of the covenant, the chosen ones. You understand? And that we are in our restorative day by evidence of the fact that we are operating under a new frequency being emitted by the light of the sun, right? Hallelujah. Amen. Embrace it. And I'm not being facetious. I'm being dead ass, as they would say in New York, right? Why not show up for the blessing? We've been bearing the burden of the curse long enough, right? Why you run the opposite way when they say that there's blessings being given out, right? Why you don't run towards that? Why you don't embrace that? Why you don't want to own that? Why can't we be the identify? Why we can't be the poster child of the blessings? Why we got to bear the burden so much? Matthew 7:19. Let's see what this New Testament got for us. Because we in it, a tree and its fruit, right? Why can't we be that? The good tree cannot bear bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. So then, by their fruit you will recognize them. Right? A tree will be known by the fruit that it bears. These same children that we're speaking of, right? The fact that we were on the line earlier and I was speaking to brother about the fact that he is born from a tree that has strong roots. Both of his parents, beautiful Virgos, born on the same day, September 17th. A match made in cosmic heaven that bore fruits, that bore seeds, 9 of them, which are beautiful and majestic, right? Some hang lower to the ground than others. You feel me? But there's lessons to be learned here. The garden is still beautiful, even if it got weeds in it, even if it got bees and hornets coinciding simultaneously, even if there's snakes in the garden, there's still a lesson to be learned here. Okay? Isaiah 10:33. Behold, the Lord God of hosts will lop off the branches with terrifying power. The tall trees will be cut down, the lofty ones will be felled. He will clear the forest thickets with an axe, and Lebanon will fall before the mighty one. They have a saying in the streets, and they say that they only make furniture out of straight trees, right? Meaning that the good die young, my nigga. That you lived your entire life being so straight, being by the book, by doing everything, only to fucking die in a hail of bullets by being an innocent bystander. And people said he was good. Why did he die so young? They only chop down straight trees in the forest, my nigga. That's why. The good die young. They get thrown into the fire. And somebody could say that's not what the passage said. They said that they lop off branches with terror. Yeah, they didn't say which branch they lopped off. They said the lofty ones will also be felled. Yeah, that's the ones that are aspiring. Those are the ones that are good. Those are the ones that are the prophets amongst us. Those are the ones that you think it ain't supposed to happen to. But the nigga that's been holding up the corner, drinking alcohol, yeah, he's like 90 plus. He might die under the weight of his own stomach, but it's you didn't force it, right? He outlived you all. It's never what you think it is, right? But if you read scripture, then it's exactly what they say it is, because that's how we be mourning them. Like, damn, son was so straight laced and he died so young. Yeah, those are the trees that get chopped down first. How about that? Right? But all the scamming ass niggas, where my money at niggas, they live to be old sometimes for the most parts. They live to be hella old. And then they tell the story. They become the victors because they outlived everyone else and they tell their interpretation of the stories. Just something to be mindful of. Mark 7:19. What defiles a man? Are you still so dull? He asked. Do you not understand? Nothing that enters a man from the outside can defile him because it does not enter his heart, but it goes into the stomach and then it is eliminated. Thus, all foods are clean. He continued, what comes out of a man, that is what defiles him. So, the things that you say out of your mouth, which were originated inside of your body or your mind, those are the things that defile a man. The things that he says that are internalized, that become his outward expression. Now, those things can be influenced by external things such as food and parasites, right? But if you're looking for evidence of the parasite, listen to what that man says. Listen to how he says it. That's going to tell you everything that you need to know. And those things defile a man. That's what's considered blasphemy. 7:19. John's inquiry. Then John's disciples informed him about all of these things. So John called 2 of his disciples and sent them to ask the Lord, are you the one who was to come, or should we be looking for someone else? When the men came to Jesus, they said, John the Baptist sent us to ask, are you the one who was to come, or should we look for someone else? They repeated the same thing, right? Let's keep it moving, right? That's the same thing that Neo asked the oracle, and she was like, nigga, if you're asking me, maybe you're not the one if you need to ask. But the fact that you did ask, maybe that means that you're the one because it was prophesied that you would ask. Isn't that a mind F? Jesus teaches at the feast. He who speaks on his own authority seeks his own glory, but he who seeks the glory of the one who sent him is a man of truth. In him there is no falsehood. Has not Moses given you the law? Yet not one of you keeps it. Why are you trying to kill me? You have a demon, the crowd replied. Who is trying to kill you? Mm. This is deep dialogue about how the people receive messengers when they come amongst them. But if that message is different from the message that originally was given to you that you did not heed, they tend to fall back and defend the messenger who they was not following as a reason in which they need to attack the new messenger. Shit crazy, man. Acts 7:19. Stephen's address to the Sanhedrin. Then another king who knew nothing of Joseph arose over Egypt. He exploited our people and oppressed our fathers, forcing them to abandon their infants so they would die. At that time, Moses was born, and he was beautiful in the sight of God. For 3 months, he was nurtured in his father's house. Then he got kicked out and thrown out, and those same people who they said was evil took his ass in, fed him, raised him, put him in position, and he turned around and pulled the plug on them with his God. Romans 7:19, struggling with sin. I know that nothing good lives in me, that is, in my flesh, for I have the desire to do what is good, but I cannot carry it out. For I do not do the good I want to do. Instead, I keep on doing the evil I do not want to do. And if I do what I do not want, it is no longer I who do it, but it is sin living in me that does it. Blame it on the sin. Blame it on the parasites. Blame it on the drugs. Blame it on, right? But you embody the weak flesh that is caving and giving into temptation, my nigga. It's you. Romans 6:16. Do you not know that when you offer yourselves as obedient slaves, you are slaves to the one you obey, whether you are slaves to sin leading to death or to obedience leading to righteousness. So you can be a slave to righteousness or you can be a slave to sinhood, right? Which one are you going to end up slaving for? Because you got to slave to something here. You got to be obedient to something here. You have to acquiesce to something here. You got to break yourself to something here. You got to bend a knee to something here, is what they're saying. Live your calling, 1 Corinthians 7:19, is what they're saying, right? What are you willing to be a slave for here? Was a man already circumcised when he was called? He should not be uncircumcised. Was a man still uncircumcised when he called? He should not be circumcised. Circumcision is nothing and uncircumcision is nothing. Keeping God's commandment is what counts. Each one should remain in the situation he was in when he was called. So here goes the conflict. They said that Jesus introduces a new covenant. When you introduce a new covenant, the old covenant falls by the wayside. So the old covenant was contingent upon two marks that you were part of the a covenant: circumcision, right? And what I would imagine that you would eat kosher or something like that. What was the standardized rules that Moses brought that made chosen ones chosen ones? The very first one was circumcision. If Paul was a quote unquote Jew, but he was working with Rome or what have you, but he brought this concept of Christianity to Gentiles. The one thing that he did not require is that they become circumcised, or that would have minimized the potential pool of people that they had to successfully convert over, if you will. So they do away with that. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the main changes they make to the system. Live your calling, right? Let's finish this thing up. We're in 1 Corinthians. Let's get out of that. Let's get into 2 Corinthians. And again, thank you guys. Again, can't thank you enough. Um, Shout out to the brother I-10 for stopping through. 2 Corinthians 7:16. Let's see how far that goes. Paul's joy in the Corinthians. And his affection for you is even greater when he remembers that you were all obedient as you welcomed him with fear and trembling. I rejoice that I can have complete confidence in you. Right? The fear and the trembling part, yeah, you got to get out of that bag. There should be nothing, even God itself, that puts you in the state of fear and trembling. Why not tribulation and enjoyment, right? Why not that you're shaking from excitement that you're about to see the countenance, the face of God itself, or just even be in his presence? What do you have to fear? Unless you've been living in sin. And if that's the case, why are we even born in it? Like, you want children to be fearful? 1 Thessalonians, no. Let's just cut the chase. Let's go to Hebrews, then we're going to go to Revelations. Okay? And we'll close out here. It's almost been 3 hours. Again, I want to say thank you if you have stuck through with us through the entire presentation. A superior priesthood, Hebrews 7:19. So the former commandment is set aside because it was weak and useless. For the Lord made nothing perfect. For the law made nothing perfect, right? So you would think that if the commandments were so absolute and Moses was such a favorite son of the Most High, why did they throw the commandments out? Why were they throwing the Mosaic law out altogether and replacing it with a representative of God? Was not Moses not sufficient enough to be that with all that he did for his people? Anyway, so the former commandment is set aside because it was weak and useless, for the Lord made nothing perfect. And a better hope is introduced by which we draw near to God. And none of this happened without an oath, for others became priests without an oath. Right? So that which is sacred can be replaced by that which becomes sanctified. And that happened in this narrative, in the script. Hebrews 10:1, for the law is only a shadow of the good things to come, not the realities themselves. It can never, by the same sacrifices offered year after year, make perfect those who draw near to worship. So what Jesus also did, or the coming of Jesus with this New Testament and Christianity, is they made it no longer a prerequisite for animal sacrifice to get the attention and the permission, right, and the blessings of quote unquote God. Now you can do it through human sacrifice by acknowledging the personage of Christ in the person of quote unquote God being sacrificed and you eating the cracker and the wine. Revelation 7:17, praise from the great multitude. Never again will they hunger, and never will they thirst, nor will the sun beat down upon them, nor any scorching heat. For the Lamb in the center of the throne will be their shepherd. He will lead them to springs of living water, and God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. So, my message to the multitudes, the millions and the billions that are watching the World Cup that come from these European nations that have been experiencing unprecedented heat, but are now participating in this messianic European colonial ritual of the handing of the Messiah, or who they want to cast and craft as the Messiah. All them people is cosplaying you. Allow them people, right, Providence, to sit under the sun. If they think that they're the chosen ones, come outside in the sun, bask in it, embrace it, right? Absorb it, refract it, reflect it. You know what I'm saying? Become one with it. But if that ain't you, get out of the way. because the true and living are back in position to take this thing where it needs to go, right? For the lamb in the center of the throne will be their shepherd, right? So they're just speaking about the central sun, right? He will lead them to springs of living water, and God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. Okay, we need living water. We don't need feces filled water. That's dead. That's as dead as the water can get. Let's restore the water. Let's restore ourselves. Right? Tap in. Like, shout out to Brother Rich. We had an amazing episode yesterday where he pulled up to our farm, our micro farm organics, and we were able to demonstrate the bio buddy and the bio cleaner. We have tangible tools, U.S. patent protected tools that are on the market. You can go and do the research. They purify the water. They eliminate PFAS, right? They will not just filter your water. They will allow you to turn your waste product into fertilizer where you're not spraying doo-doo on the produce, but you're actually putting microbes and the actual material that operates in the capacity of what fertilizers do back into the soil. You can remediate the soil, you can remediate the water. Once you remediate the water and the soil, you can remediate the food that you're growing. So now you become food sovereigns. Once you're a food sovereign, then you become sovereigns in your community. Once you become sovereign in your community, then you can bring it to markets and help other people's and other communities become food sovereigns. And then next thing you know, we have a nation that's synonymous with clean water, clean food, clean health, clean air, and clean living, righteous, right? Righteous, becoming upright and rising up at a time in which everything else seems like it's fallen to the wayside. Institutions that have been built on faulty foundations are crumbling, right? But something is bound to rise from the ashes. And that is what we represent as a people, as a contingency. I want to say thank you. I want to say that you can show some appreciation and send a donation to the Cash App posted. You feel me? Um, and it's appreciated. It's appreciated. Uh, either or, either or. You can do business with us on either end of the spectrum, right? But we appreciate your time and your attention to today's matter, right? Thank you for attention to today's matter. It's very imperative, it's very important. We were able to share this message and get through it. You know what I'm saying? And again, yes, bask in the energy that's available today, not just in the World Cup, but just in the cosmos. Get out in nature, touch grass. You know what I'm saying? Don't kill an insect. Um, hum a little. You know what I'm saying? Hum a little, but love a lot. And with that, I appreciate you all. I want to say peace, love, and light. And again, peace reigns supreme, love reigns supreme, and light reigns supreme. You know what I'm saying? Don't allow anybody to cloud your judgment when it comes to those proclamations. Peace, love, and light. That's the ultimatum, and that's where we all should be striving to ultimately get to. That's not denouncing the darkness. That's not being dismissive of war. You know what I'm saying? And that's not acknowledging that hate doesn't exist. I'm saying that those are states and conditions in which you don't have to coexist and wallow in. You can rise above them. Peace, love, and light. They are attainable states of our existence. Not saying that you got to stay there every day, all day, but those are attainable sites that we all should aspire to. That is where you're going to find the best version of yourself in a state of peace, in a state of love, and surrounded by light. And with that, you know what I'm saying? I rest my case. Peace.
can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sink 3-pointers, money shots, all net, all vets. Bums we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. No weapon form can intercept a storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting on magnetic fields and interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube and fade to black, yeah, the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual Clarence 13X, a worthy guess. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree. In the wilderness of North Mex, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson.
The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers, fabric softener. Jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch Storch type. For that soft white, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like Porsche lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, they're scorched tight. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost their souls, niggas got holes in their feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it. It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descendant of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Bless.
Crumb TV.